Kenyange wane mnati. RCP yaspana. I hereby declare the Pennyvale Primary School and its surroundings premises as the precinct of the Gauteng Legislature in terms of Rule 56 of the Standing Rules of the Gauteng Legislature, and read together with Section 1 and 2 and Section 28 of the powers, privileges, and immunities of Parliament and the Provincial Legislature, Act number 4 of 2004. Thank you. This precinct of Parliament and Provincial Legislature are described as follows. The precinct of Parliament is the area and land and every building or part of the building under the Parliament's control, including the chambers in which the proceedings of the House are conducted and the galleries and the lobbies of this particular school. Every part of the building in which the chambers are situated, and every forecourt, yard, garden, enclosure, or open space thereto. The committee's rooms, which we are using in this place and other areas, are the meeting places provided or used primarily for Parliament purposes. So every other building or part of the building provided or used in connection with the proceedings of Parliament, while so used in this building, it is going to be declared as such. So for the duration of this meeting, this place will be the precinct of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature. Thus, the standing rules of the legislature will apply and govern all the engagements of the day. So the declarations means that when we are inside here now, we are inside the Parliament. We are not just going to do things on our own or make noise or howl or use a foul language against each other. We are going to respect this meeting. So we are going to make sure that we respect the rules of the legislature until we finish our meeting. And I'm hoping that every person who's here will contribute effectively and positively to the work of the legislature. As I welcome all of you, I want us to observe a moment of silence, particularly for those that were killed during the disastrous COVID-19. So I will urge all of us just to stand and observe a moment of silence. Thank you very much. We may take our seats. Before we proceed, HOD, there's a principal of the school here who must assure us that we are safe. I know he's under your control, but I'm going to request the principal because he's the CEO of the school, so the principal must come forward and welcome us officially in his school. Principal.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me take this opportunity and acknowledge the presence of the HOD present here. We are so pleased to have you, sir, here, placing this occasion So I am told I can't speak without the mic because it is getting recorded. This is Mr. Masuku, the principal of the school, Painville Primary, which is beginning to be a very big school, started in 2012 with about 16 educators, and now currently we are at 34 educators, and we have 34 classrooms. But we also wish to indicate on behalf of the SGB of the school that we are growing in numbers, the enrollment of learners, but we do not get mobile classrooms to accommodate our learners, and it is posing a huge challenge for us to deliver quality education to our learners. So I know that this meeting is hosting very influential people. You might be listening and you might be hearing us in our welcoming statement as a school, so that you in your meetings discuss about this, so that we get the necessary resources as the school. So with that said, Chairperson, I don't want to be long. We have so many challenges. It's a list. I don't want to spoil the opening remark of this gracious occasion. And I will say to everyone, you are welcome. This is Painville Primary School, and we are hopeful that you are going to be having a fruitful meeting. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you, Principal. I letenda ngati asibhayizisa bafethu. Yeah. Diyabhala. Anyway, thank you very much, Mr. Masuku. Siyabonga kakhulu. First, before I give my opening remarks, I just want to indicate to you, those of you who might not understand other languages, we have the channels, as you see in the booth here. There are people who are interpreting what has been said. KaSizulu, KaSichangane, KaSivenda, KaSipedi. So you will be assisted if you want any. So they are going to give you, if you want a device like this one, you'll raise your hand quietly. They will give it to you so that ukwazi ukuthi nawe ulandele le nkulumo ezobala. So for English, you'll be on channel 1, Afrikaans on channel 2, Sesotho, Sepedi and Setswana on channel 5, isiZulu, siXhosa and isiNdebele on channel 3, Chivenda and Xitsonga on channel 4. We also have a sign language. Mr. Mlungisi Maseko is the guy who's going to interpret for the sign language. All of you are welcome. The principal said we are here, and because we are here, there's a purpose. Indeed, principal, there's a purpose why we are here. And we have brought the head office to your school, led by the MEC and the HOD and the senior management of the school, of the department. Precisely because as the portfolio committee, we went back and checked our books, and we realized that there are a lot of areas that we have resolved on, but were not actually consolidated or concluded. Some of you will remember that in the previous term administration, we came here. I was the chairperson then, and I went back to finance, and now I'm back again now with education. Now, when we go through this with the staff of the committee, we realize that there are a lot of issues that we said then will resolve, were not resolved. Now, HOD, it is for this reason that we brought you here, so that we are able to see and interact with the school, because we want the brick and mortar principal. We want a school, and I'm assured by the HOD and the DDG that there is money set aside for a new school. It means that this area will be cordoned off. Unfortunately, abantwana ngeke basadlalela la. The first phase will be built first, soon. So that is why we are here, to reassure you and the community here and the district that indeed you are going to get the school that you wish to have. The brick and mortar. I'm told by our officials that you are sharing your office with other educators. There's no privacy in a small room. And that cannot be correct. And as you said, you have grown from 16 educators to 34. It means that the school is growing. So we must be able to say that let's reward you with a proper school. Let's reward the community here with a brick and mortar school that you'll be proud of. Again, the main thing that we have decided through the discussions and taking the cue from what the Premier Lesufi indicated in his acceptance speech, we are now going to focus our energy in our township schools as education. Other departments as well, they are going to focus in the townships. So we call upon all of our districts to do that, to accept that if your office is in town, it means that majority of the work that you must do must be in the township. We are also going to look at your budget. If your budget does not talk to the township development, we are not going to accept your budget. So every school, every district must be able to say, when you send your budget to the CFO and the HOD and the management of the department, it means that you must have a particular percentage, not less than 25% of your budget must focus on the township, and the development must continue there. So I want to welcome all of you and say to you that this is a public meeting. We just want to share with you. That's why some of us are touched when we see a commitment by educators committing themselves to keep these mobile classes as good as they are now. In other schools, the mobile classes are terrible. And we want to thank your principal and your team for keeping them still in a good shape for a while. That's why you must be rewarded by getting a new school. I'm not alone here. I'm with honorable members who are working with me in the portfolio committee. On my right, we have Honorable William Macheke. Is also the chairperson of the Economic Development Portfolio Committee. He's a member of this committee. We have member Dos Santos. Honorable Dos Santos is here next to me. On my far left, maybe sitting strategically on the far left, as an extremist, Honorable Itani Mukwebo is fighting for the working class. But I'm working hard to recruit him to the Communist Party so that he must not be in the extreme. But he's a good man. We also have our support staff. They will assist you with anything that you want. We have a small table at the back. They will help you. But we also have the security and the police, and some are not wearing their uniform for reasons known to us. So the more or the better you behave, the better. So that bangakubuli. So welcome. We are going to receive. Okay. We have Honorable Ramli for online. He's not well. It's unlike him. He's forever fit, but I'm told he's not well. We are going to receive the annual report presentation by the department. One of the things that the department is going to do is to take us through the annual report, which we are going to debate next week. It might look a bit late because it's 2021-22 financial year, but it's not late for the legislature because you have to consolidate the report and have a proper documentation and information. So without wasting any time, I'm going to ask the HOD, because the MEC is not here as yet. I'm going to ask the HOD to do the presentation or introduction first of his officials, so that we're able to know who's here from the department and then take it from there. HOD?
Thank you very much, Chairperson and honorable members. We have, maybe I must only introduce the senior managers. We have from the head office, our Deputy Directors General. Well, firstly, I'm the head of department, Edward Musuwe. And then we have with us the Deputy Directors General who helped the HOD. And I want to introduce Mr. Albert Chani, the Deputy Director General responsible for planning. I want to introduce the Deputy Director General responsible for hiring and firing, for HR, DDG Rufus Mutlana. I want to introduce the man who keeps the purse and makes sure that all of our money is safe, the Chief Financial Officer of the department, Mr. Johan van Koller. I want to introduce the Chief Directors that are here. I've got Chief Director for this region, Ekurhuleni Ntate Tau, the tallest Chief Director in the province. Oh, sorry, I forgot, before I should have introduced, we have our Deputy Director General for the Gauteng City Region Academy. That's a branch of the department that deals with youth, that gives bursaries, that gives learnerships, that gives internships, that provides opportunities for young people. Miss Percy Moleke. Percy. I have got with me then the Chief Directors, Ndadeta, who I've introduced as the Chief Director for the Ekurhuleni region. I've got my Chief Director for policy, Miss Helen Mokhosi. We have our Chief Director responsible for monitoring and evaluation, Synat. We have our Chief Director for infrastructure. So, Tishomkulu, when you hear the chairperson saying we are coming, remember when you and I were walking the school and I called, this is the fellow that I was calling just to understand, Mr. Hudson Baloya, our Chief Director for infrastructure. He has information about all schools in the province on his fingertips, I can tell you. He does a good job. I have our Acting Chief Director for Communications, Paparazzi, Ms. Nanakolo Leopeng. Then we have our Chief of Staff in the office of the MEC, the one who makes sure that we are in line between the department and the interface between the political office and administrative office. Mr. Tapelo Dlamini is here. We have, Chair and members, the Director for Ekurhuleni North District of our province, Ms. Nongeba Ntuta. I know that there is Mr. Links who's acting on behalf of, where is he? He's acting on behalf of, I think he's of the District Director for Ekurhuleni South. And the reason why the Director of Ekurhuleni South is not here, we just lost one of our senior members in Ekurhuleni South. Mr. Sif Mabu passed on last night, and the District Director was trying to organize, because he has been one of the long and trusted leaders of the department. Yeah, Steve, not the spokesperson. Okay, they share the same name. Just Steve Mabuye. I'm not sure it's Mabuye or Mabuye, but he's Mabua. Oh, and I now realize I also made another mistake, because you see, when you have short people that are in front of you, I'm looking there, but I missed. I should have looked here. I have our acting deputy director general for the branch of education support. So anything about scholar transport, school nutrition, infrastructure, anything that is not in the classroom, Mr. Opabudibe is responsible for that. I think I know I have my circuit managers here and district officials. So we have a full team. The GDE is represented. And finally, because we have MEC Matume Chilwane, who must interface with the legislature. Our parliamentary liaison officer in the office of the MEC, Mr. Bongani Sibis, is here as well. You can see he represents us well. Yeah, even in the way that he dresses, he's always on point. He just took the job very well. So we are grateful for him. So Chair, with your permission, can I present the annual report? I take it that as you say,
sorry HOD, we have enough space here. Ningame ngaphandle ne. Thathani itulo bafowethu ningene la etendeni. Ningasabi la bafowethu abafowenu laba. Onisabhalisa. Okay, uma ceda ukubhalisa uthatha isitulo ungene uhlale la. Uma sekugcwele then we'll occupy the outside space. Ningahlali elangeni nemvula izoza kungasekudala. HOD, proceed.
I'm going to try stand behind or next to Honorable Macheke here so that I don't. You may want to check here. Can we get the presentation on the board? Honorable Chair, honorable members, and the members of the community of Ekurhuleni, we are presenting the annual report. And when we talk of an annual report, and why is it important, Chair? Because we are more communitying. We thought it's important because the legislature votes for funds. So when the members of parliament or legislature vote for funds and they give us the money, they say the department go and deliver for the people of Gauteng in our schools. Once we have done that, we must come back and say, have we used the money correctly? And that is why we are here. So you will see we are giving an indication of what are the key achievements. When we got the money, what did we do with the money? What are those areas? How do we know that we did well? Because how did you do well? There are indicators. You must go do A, B, C, D, E, F. And that's why it's a performance information. Only financial information, the audit outcomes. You know, we can't talk about ourselves. Somebody outside must come and say, did you use the money correctly? You know that there is somebody called the Auditor General. So Auditor General comes from outside and comes into the department, remove the buga zarena, remove the buga zarena, wadi sheba, then otabolela hore a Department of Education can nete le sebedise tjhelete hantle or ala e sebedisa hantle. Ke context ne re deliver ka yona ke tlo jumpa mo ere ke tlhalose hore when you are in government you don't just deliver because I wake up one morning today I'm going to buy books or tomorrow I'm going to build a double story. No, we first check what is the ruling party and the governing party saying about what it is that what are the policies we must. This is why helebona mona letlabona hona le NDP, National Development Plan, letlabona hona le MTSF, EMT medium term strategic framework. Every 5 years a new government comes ya re bolella hore for this coming 5 years priorities tsa rena ke tsena robata all departments di sebetse ho ya ka. That's why le bona ke context e re sebetsang ka yona. Le tla bona hore ha re entse jwalo rona really lefapha we go back and say re lo tse ba re buditseng in the MTSF re di isa into what we call the annual performance plan. How shebile annual performance plan re tlo bolela ka yona annual performance plan hore ngwaha le ngwaha ro etsa eng and le tla hopola hore ha ne re mo ngwaheng ya 2021 2022 kena le covid ne sentse le teng la hopola because ha covid ile teng hora hore hona le tse di ile nda change ntse re bereka re tla re di tlhalosa slide sena se bontsha hape hore a re iperekele fela re tsamaisa ke melao e leng teng National Development Plan 2030 hore by 2030 sentse be re fetotse maemo a dikolo yang go tswana le sekolo sena by 2030 I'm sure a re ba tore ebe mobile school re batla ebe brick and mortar and that is why part of what we have said that it will be coming. Mara more education we also have a blueprint document rebita action plan to 2014 action plan to 2030 eke this plan e tswang ya basic education re fa ke me enjimotshega ko nationally and re sebetsa ka yona in that particular regard. Mara mo Gauteng re level a document e re bitsang re growing Gauteng together 2030 mo re bolelang ka growing Gauteng 2030 re growing Gauteng together 2030 e tsamaelana le National Development Plan e tsamaelana le MTSF e tsamaelana le Basic Education Sector Plan kaofela tsona ke ka mkhole bonang re bontsha a ke batle ho tlhalosa a hopola hore mo National Development Plan ha re bua ka growing Gauteng together keng se ne re tlo sire hona le 6 things tse puso e rileng we must go and do. One of them e rile economy, jobs and infrastructure. But we know that economy is not necessarily issue at Department of Education marona. We must train young people hore ba tletle he ba fetsa ba be le the right skills. Because when you don't have a skill, how kono ya msebetsi? Because your skill that can be mismatched, di tla palisa hore o be le the appropriate acceptance into the market. Integrated human settlement, basic services, safety, social cohesion and food security, building a capable state, building a better Africa. Those are the broad areas. Now, Hari Shebile, all of those things. Now, now lona go education, what did you do? Le konne because Raruto wabolela mara king seles konne kids seril konne. Kangwa hao ke batla re shebisane hantle mona hore ka 2021 ha re sheba the class of 2021 and re bua class of 21 re bana ba ngwala matric ka 2021. This was the best class that Gauteng produced in terms of quality passes ever. And I'm sure luna la itse re bana ha ba tlile mo Gauteng ba pass. So we had the highest number of bachelor passes since the introduction of the new matric certificate. That's what we achieved. We were able to help because leta hopola hore rile la bali lockdown. Mara bana ba re ba thusitse because ara mara re ka rona mo lockdown we are unable to support them. Rile ra rana dilo re ke secondary school improvement plan program. E ileng ya ira hore bana ba rena ba tetle ba khona ho pass. Arare because hona le lockdown or ka se khone ho hira admissions rile ra ya ka online admission ya 2022 ra khona ho tsena ra sebetsa pila bana ba rena ba kena dikolo ra khona admita ma grade 1 le ma grade 8 rile ra khona ho lebella curriculum ya rena hore because kana kwele ya lockdown la hopola bana ne ba tsena on rotation ka tshego ho tsena ba ka usane ho tsena ba e rile hore bana ba be le ba boele morago. Marar, we are happy hore really ra introduce what we call a recovery plan, and part of what our achievement is the recovery plan e really ra develop. Really ra khona ho ira hore re support dikolo ka during COVID in order hore re nentse re tsweletse pele. One of the things e really ra ira during that time was also to have successful SGB elections. La hopola we had SGB elections even during the COVID time. And it was very difficult in some places, but we were able to do that. That's an achievement that we were able to do. we were able to get more partnerships. As a result of the work department, we were able to see many people coming. Now, if we really look at our performance information, did we get 100%? I would say no. We did not get a full 100% of everything that we had planned to do because there was COVID. But how much did we get? There were 38 big priorities. But of the 38, 6 years are no longer, they were no longer applicable because rekasi did rahat. But we had 32 therefore, and measure against what we were able to come up with. Of that number, we were able to get 87% of our targets, 100%. For the remaining 13%, it's not that we did not achieve them at 100%, but we can say we started them rakona who fit at a level mo elong hore they were appreciably accepted. And what are those things? And it's important, Chairperson hore this is an honest and fair reflection. There are areas where we did well and extremely well. There are areas more really good. But there are areas where we were fair in performance. Only 13% can we say some aspects were fair. Remember, one of the things we can be fair, we still don't have a brick and mortar school. For as long as we don't have a brick and mortar school, you can't say you are 100% performing. I get it. So that is why we are here. We are giving an indication of those specific areas. Because some of these things, what are those targets that we did not achieve? One of the commitments that the ANC government had set as the ruling party was to say there shall be 50% women and 50% men in top management, in SMS. The one thing that we did not achieve as a department was to reach that level. We are still going. The leaders in the top management, but we can do better. So that is an area that we could not achieve. We were sitting in the previous financial year, we were sitting at 41.41%. But how we share, we did not get to 100%. That's why we are at 94% of the 100%. Yabubedi, honali a lot of independent schools mo Gauteng, meaning say these in public schools, but that are allowed to be run through legislation. Most of them basta dikolo, and basta dikolo babata subsidy. But because we don't have a bottomless pit of money, we are unable to subsidize everybody. Now in that context, utabona hore only there's about we reached 92.69 of those that were able to be subsidized. But now apply because we apply. But how apply? I also can't spend more than what you are asking for the money that I have. I can't promise you money that I don't have. And that is why it's an area that we had a problem with. The third thing RSI achiever. We want to be the best. Now, wanting to be the best means one of the things our heba na bangwala metric rekre 100%. But we know that not all children would make 100%. Ne repeat target ya 85%. Metric, we want to get an 85% performance. Unfortunately, during the year of COVID, we only achieved 82.75%, which was 97.24 of the target in Reveille. And lastly, it was the number ya the bachelors. One of our biggest achievements really is the highest number of bachelors that we had achieved ever. It still remained the highest, but it did not reach to the target eruna nerevat. So we always put our targets even higher than what we know about, because we believe that Gauteng must always be performing at a level far beyond the minimum standards that are set, and our levels are even higher than what national is. So we could not even reach our own we are working towards that. We were at 99.55%. so you see our targeting, we would continue to work around there. What about finances? Because the legislature budgets us money. In this financial year, Honorable Madume Chilwani is responsible for a budget of about 60 billion rands. But of that amount, of that amount, 75% goes to salaries. So 75% of the 60 billion rands is salaries. And 25% then goes to fund all the different things that to feed children, to transport learners, to provide psychosocial, to do all of these different functions. Now, Auditor General came to the department during the year 2021-22, and when he looked into our books, because Remofa di buka u determine u tsamaisa di buka tsa rena into the different tests. For the 13th year running, Auditor General concluded that the Department of Education in Gauteng, you are getting an unqualified audit outcome. Meaning, it's unqualified. It means that you have used the money in accordance with what it was set to be doing and in how the laws were allowing you to do. So, Auditor General can give you a clean audit, an unqualified audit, a qualified audit, a disclaimer, and an adverse. Department of Education belongs to these top two. Our view is to go to the clean. When you talk of a clean, it means that everything, 100%, 99.5. It's not even 99.5, it's 101. You looked into each, but how do you get that co-education when there's a new, when children must be transported? At times we must make emergency decisions, but we make them within the law. So for 13 years in a row, we have received an unqualified audit opinion. I thought, Chairperson, we will be getting an applause, because we are not talking small money. We're talking a budget of 57 billion rands for the year under review. But the second thing is, we achieved the highest number of targets for what we had set ourselves despite COVID. So COVID did not stop us from delivering to the people of our province. That is the second big thing. Thirdly, one big area, non-financial performance information. One of the things we can indicate to you is that for non-financial information or performance audit, we got a clean audit. So it shows that we have been working very well to try and deal with this area. Now, finally, in terms of financial position, and this is the amount, this is what you need to look at. Remember, I said it was about 57 billion rands in the year under review. For that year, we were able to spend 99.2% of the money. So Auditor General came and looked at how much we spent. They looked at how we spend it, and they say unqualified. But you see, we had already spent 99.2%. We could only not spend about 467. But let me also say this about 467. Part of the unspent money, it does not mean that you had not committed it. But because we had not received the invoices at that point, we could not pay. You see, you can't pay for a service that has not been rendered completely. So we were able to, of the 467, I know that we have about 150 million rands that has Treasury has also approved, in addition to the 56.6 million billion, Treasury has approved an additional 150 barifile yona. So if you minus if utia 467 million, ebe u minus 150, say 160 million rands. The only amount that we did not spend was just under 200 million, just about 200 million. So it shows you, Hori, we perform very well with the responsibility of funds that were in our, and that's not what I say, it's what the Auditor General also says. And I think that's what are the areas where we did not spend the money? Compensation of employees. And why do we say compensation of employees? Is because sometimes when a post is not filled, here is really a vacant post, but it's not filled, it's already funded. So some posts were not filled at the time of the financial year, and some goods and services and so on. This I've explained a lot of that. Chairperson, one of the things about financial information, Gehori, did we incur fruitless and wasteful expenditure? I'm happy to report to people of our province that there were the amount of fruitless and wasteful was insignificant, and therefore it was not found to be a finding in here. There were issues around irregular expenditure. When you talk of irregular expenditure, it does not mean that ojele chelete ya puso re ya batho. Irregular expenditure may mean when the law says by this time you must have terminated the contract, but how can we terminate that because there's no new contract, and you ask for an extension month on month, it causes it to be irregular. But because you are continuing to offer that service, it is allowed, but it is classified as irregular. So rental of buildings, of office buildings, is one of those areas. And I'm not going to be talking which department. It's not a function. The role of the Department of Education is not to rent buildings. They are rented by another department. But because we are one government, I'm not going to say that it's to call their name. The other area was on school nutrition, which is a long-time contract where the Auditor General picked up that there are some providers that we should have excluded or we should have included that we excluded. But you understand that is one of the areas: security service, school furniture, and the GID. One of the things that you should never and must never do when you have money of government is to have something called unauthorized expenditure. And I can confirm that we did not incur any unauthorized. So we spent the money that we had. So we did not go and spend more than we had or less than we had. And in that way, we can confirm, Chair. And important, how stable and how good are our finances, Chair? For the period under review, we can confirm that one of the things that we must always do in government is to reduce the amount of money that you owe. So you must pay people on time. You must make sure that when the new financial year starts, what we call accruals, accounting, you know that there are instances where you can't avoid to have an accrual. Because when the financial year closes today, but you know that there is work that is still to be done and a new financial year starts, you still need those invoices to come in the new but work might have been done in the previous financial year. So that's how an accrual always happens. We had accruals. Remember, our budget is 57 billion rands, but we only had accruals of 41 million rands. Do you see that we are trying to manage the funds of the government properly? 41 million rands. And we can confirm that as in terms of 30-day payments, I agree when you are, there may be among you people that are providing services for government. We must pay you within 30 days. We can confirm that there were 30 days. The only big issue that we had about 30 days was the late payment or late billing by municipalities. So City of Ekurhuleni, when they don't give us their bills on time, it delays. And I can't go and say pay for something that I have not been able to receive an account on. So these are the things that we have been able to deal with. This is just a slide to show, remember, really 13 years in a row we have received an unqualified audit opinion. This green shows you the number of years that we have been. This is 2018, 19, 20, 21. This is the year we are talking about. Unqualified performance information, unqualified financial information. The only areas that the Auditor General was talking to us about were issues that we related to in terms of irregular expenditure, and that is the only area, and that is why you see it here. But look at the previous year. Do you see that the number of things that they had picked up? So if you see this line, it has only reduced to one block, meaning we have managed to even improve on our accountability and governance systems. That is how far we are. Chair, all the other issues that are coming up are basically additional information on the things and I'm sure I would not want to spend too much time because we've brought this is more detail of the specific programs, or maybe just to give an indication. Let me go back here so that I can quickly talk to these areas. When we talk about what do we fund, it's a program 7. So we fund our budget is classified into different programs. And I'm going to try see if I can go back so that you can then see what do our funds do. The first part, we fund administration, and administration relates to the amount of money we keep for salaries at head office, for running the different programs for district offices. The second program that we fund is what we call public ordinary schools. A school like Painville Primary and many other schools. This is where in this budget lies a whole lot of salaries for teachers, LTSM, scholar transport, and many others. Everything that comes to schools is in this classification of the budget. And that's why Labona information I think in Chibian. Labona slides. The third program, key independent schools. And you will see on terms of independent schools, that is what we said we achieved. Under the fourth program that we find are special schools or special needs education. So you will see that we have public special school education. We are also funding it as a separate, you see, it's not linked to public ordinary schools, it's linked on its own. The other program that we are funding is early childhood development. So Labona Hori, we are, if you think about education, early childhood development, public schools, independent schools, schools for learners with special education needs, they are all funded. You can see that the other area is infrastructure. Building of new schools, maintenance of schools, when there are problems at schools, for monies that SGBs, remember SGBs on the other hand, SGBs are given money. If you are an SGB, you are given money as part of Section 21 to do minor maintenance. So when there's a ceiling falling or a screw loose, an SGB can get an artisan somewhere to come and make sure that that screw is replaced and we don't have further damage to the property. Infrastructure development, we are giving you a sense of the achievement. The other big program that we run, examination and education related services. In here also remember last year and for the past 2 years, we were funding a program, a Presidential Youth Employment Initiative. It was funded under this program as well. So those are the programs, Chairperson, that we have been dealing with, and we are happy to submit our report as the Department of Education for the 2021-2022 financial year. It is our submission that the community of our province would accept that we tried to exercise fiduciary responsibility on the services and the funding that was provided. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, HOD, and let's welcome our MEC. MEC Matome Chiloane is here now with us. Welcome, MEC. I just want to make this announcement again. Those of you who may not understand other languages, sinalama gadget. Umuyidinga lento phakamisa isandla sokunika nama earphones, but uma usuqedile ahambe nayo ekhaya because ngeke isebenze ekhaya. It's for you to bring it back. Bakhona abayidingayo. It's communication. Inama channel. Uma ufuna ukulalela nge-English uya ku channel 1 because kulama booths kunama interpreters la ngaphakathi. Uma ufuna ukulalela nge-Afrikaans uya ku channel 2. Uma ufuna ukulalela ngeSpedi, Setswana and Sesotho channel 5. Uma ufuna ukulalela ngeSizulu, nesiXhosa nesiNdebele you go to channel 3. Xitsonga and Xivenda on channel 4. If you want one, please raise your hand so that we can be able to assist you. Okay, so multilingual, is right. Oh, please raise your hand so that they can give it to you. Now, we are entering now a very important stage of the report. HOD, thank you very much for the report. I know you managed time, and I know you can manage time. This is an annual report. Now, Mpagati, remember, this is the annual report for 2021-22 financial year. However, certain things might have been corrected in this financial year. However, the department led by the MEC and the HOD, they will definitely respond. Again, I want to welcome all of our stakeholders. All of you, we want to acknowledge you as the education stakeholders. We thank you for being here. Now, we are going to take hands for comment, clarity-seeking questions, and anything that you want to say. As I appoint you, I give you the number. Uma uzokhuluma ngokunikeze inamba usitshela igama lakho nesibongo. And ngizocela uzoma la phambili because sifuna ukukurekhoda. Uzoma la. Because ama camera ngene yabona. We are live ku channel yase parliament. So ningathuki si live ku parliament. So that's why kumele bakubone nasekhaya uma bevulele le channel. So you are number 1, please come forward. You are number 2, Daddy, please come forward. You are number 3, my brother. You are number 4. You are number 5. Number 6. Okay, let's take this 5 first. Please tell us your name and the organization you're coming from. Thank you.
Sanbonani. Igama lami uJoyce wakamsetla. Ngihlala la kule ward 72. Simangele thina masibona kunamatende abantu bandlula sithola egroupini bathupanyaza ula. Nganje bathupanyaza umo mara gabaribucha panyaza umo sinama group i2 wala kule lona. Asitholanga invitation. So I say ithi nyohlola ukuthi kwenzakalani. Ngifike late. Ngifike la bayenza ibudget. Mina anginokhuluma ngento zebudget. Ngizokhuluma ngama problem ala. Lana ngapha ngakithi MEC kudominator isiXhosa. Ugcwele amaXhosa. Abantwana abaningi abafundi because kule sikolo lesi kunesizulu. Abantwana abaningi bama primary bamaXhosa bafunda iThemba. Ene kuma transport kuthiwe abantwana abafuneki. Abantwana bahamba ngeenyawo baya eThemba bafunda eMsobovu. Abanye bafunda abanye amaZulu bafunda eSakhelwe. Abanye bafunda eKhangezile naseLona. Mathe semasibabuza ukuthi why abanye bahlala khona la mara bafunda eThemba bathi la kule sikolo kugcwele ababathathi. But to my surprise, I'm not xenophobic. Abantu bangaphandle bagcwele la kule sikolo. Abantu abahlala la ababhilonga la yes babagcwele kule sikolo. and isiXhosa abantwana abaningi abafundi because isiZulu abas-understand bahleli ngapha bancedisa kugcwele illegal mining ngapha bancedisa abantu be-illegal mining ngapha abafundi and sicela ukuthi kube ne-abet kunabantwana abadropile i-abet isethema bangena ngo-3 like mina ngifunde uform but ngigcine ka form 3 but i-matric ngifunde 2004 ethema elona lana sicela i-abet ukuthi ibe khona and then ngizongena kuskola ku transport sacela ukuthi manichasha ningachashi from 18 to 35 nichashe nabantu aba strong ngoba labantu abalayishayo ama high school ama driver nomnikazi wamabhasi bagijimisana nabantwana bame emakhoneni bame emakhoneni ithi ibhasi mase ehambile bayachamuka ba complain bathi ibhasi bashiyile bese abazali bese balwana nabo driver ukuthi nishiya abantwana bethu yabo ama exam manje u driver makathi 7 o'clock mama mayiqala idonsa bachamuka bagijima ene siyacela ukuthi nichashani abantu aba strong abazoncedisa abo driver because labantwana bashaya nabo driver futhi bashaya nabo driver baphatha ikhalo ebhasini mina ngisebenza ethema ngivunyelwa ukuthi ngigibele ibhasi but as a community yala ngiyangena ebhasini abafuna ukuyemuva bahlala la phambili ngibaphushe ukuthi ngibaphushe nabo sibaphushe obona ibe khona ke tlhologa konamela taxi ke fihle late ko msebetsing because re thusa bana ba rona gore ba bang ba ska sala so ile yonto leyo ngicela nje ukuthi ama primary sono ngoba masidibana nabo kufanele sicela abo taxi driver ba lifteni because abantwana manje baphuma ngo11 baqeda ukubhala ngo11 laba baphuma ngabo 2 sebahamba ngeenyawo ngelanga asifuni ukuzwa esinye story ukuthi abantwana ba hijackiwe or bayenzeni amandla.
Good afternoon, colleagues. I'm the PEC member here, the National Association of School Governing Bodies. The report on the board, but I just wonder, like for an example, this GPR like higher, do they understand what is happening there? Because apparently it seems as if the district officials are more informed on these reports. And we understand I'm a brown envelopes in the influenza. And at the time of the SGP, it's 3 years. By the time you are knowledgeable in the governance matters, somebody. Let us try to bring them up to speed. As soon as I get office, let them hit the ground running. I'm one of the people, 1981, PTA. I started being involved in the education a company to be social responsibility. I started having love for these things. But apparently some district officials was treated like witches who knows what peace. O principal West GPA no chairperson, o secretary no treasurer. And yet we are supposed to be having subcommittees. Now the challenge SGPs do not join the associations. We are there, we are knowledgeable. Season challenge school development plan, your 3-year plan, season challenge school improvement plan, your monitoring tool. And then we understand that simple. So guys, please, SGPs, total information, twinning of schools. Yeah, but this school across the street, say total 20%. The other in the same community, say total 80%. Now why don't you match and try to check out until 100 times? We are from the same community, guys. We are questioning things as we are sitting with a Mazuz. Tomorrow, Masagwake brick and mortar. The SGP will say, no, Lawayana Soga must room. Whereas Abanya want to go Zinginda. Bayantu, Labanao. Look, it's good, Masuku, the principal. In 20 years, I would Nizo Kongut Nambu, Nesin, what Nambule and Abani. Let us look after what we've been given. Last time, Bexataka meeting, people were saying, Babulusuf, Wakai scholars Gangen, Mauka, Farnama computer, or Sierra, Utiscato, Gansaboban, less scholars. Lento le fana ngokuthi ungipa imoto kusasa ngithola ngimile endleleni nginepantsha hey le moto yakho ipanchile angiphilanga something is wrong with me, there's something wrong. And the other thing really guys, we are governing this country siphethe sifuna ukutshela abanye abantu ukuthi benze but thina siyahluleka thina ngokwethu. We understand sinikezwe amabhasi scholar transport, why singabi nabantu bethu abazosondela ukuthi money that thing is meant for us, let us look after it, because umqashi uzowenzani uzawo-withdraw amabhasi la because you are not looking after those things. Please good people, join associations. Mina ngithenga nguNASCAP, National Association of School Company. Join and angithi izani kimi. Kodwa ke acquire knowledge. Ngiyabonga.
Khotsong bagolo le kae? Ke teng MEC officials. Lebitso la ka ke Lebogang Ramushu. Ke tswa ko Ward 107 ko Spruit View. I'm representing not only my company Impande Intuthuko, but I'm a rep for HOD Asanko in education. Okay, so now I've got questions, and I will also give Vele credit where it's due. Ne? I'm from a IT background, ITC, or rather ICT, Information Communication Technology. So I want to ask the Committee Education, what are your plans, seeing that the rest of the globe is moving towards the fourth industrial revolution? And what are you guys doing in terms of, like, from primary school? Have you changed the faculty, or are you going to stick to the same thing that you're doing, and come something like COVID, we are sitting at home, we have no other, technical skills that we can advance ourselves with? And then I'm here with my reps, people who are selling, like vendors, the guys on the fences, just in case they don't get to speak. So I'm just representing them. I'm also like a member of the CPF. I'm the secretary, so I do their reports. Well, my core business is IT. I'm into machine learning. I know Linux, and I'm qualified in those stuff. So I can also bring in my, my specialties and stuff. So I can do that. But yeah, I don't want to just, go on like a broken record. But yeah, I just wanted to find out from... Okay, so basically, what I've noticed is I've been doing, let's say, I've been working on Windows, which I feel Windows is not working for me anymore. I know most people who use computers, operating systems, Windows, maybe they use it for other things. But when it comes to machine learning, we have to move away from your Windows. I hope Bill Gates is not looking at this. But there are smarter, more manageable components that we can advance our like our skill set. So, for example, I use a Raspberry Pi, and it's not a normal thing. It's very unconventional for other people who've been used to the norm. So I can provide that as well, because when you open it up, like it asks you, what would you like to learn today? Would you like to learn arithmetic? Would you like to learn how to solder? Would you like to learn how to build? For example. So it asks you, how would you like to learn? So it's a different method of like learning. So yeah, like yeah, like ya tseba gore ke na lo change mo le mo bona mara se ke tsa gore vele it is ka ofela rutlwane. But yeah, I think for any further like discussion that maybe you might want to have regarding what I've spoken about, then we can have it after, so that we can give other people like chance. Yeah, just to elaborate further. Thank you so much for the recognition. Sharp.
Dumela magolo. Ka lebitso ke Michael Mpho Tholakai. I'm the member of the SGP. I reside in Ward 107. I'm slash a project manager or junior project manager. Well, I'm a sports guru, I would say so. I'm a runner by profession as well. Precisely, I'll get to the point in terms of the 13 years of unqualified work, which the HOD, Mr. Zusuya, I once met him at the St. George, a couple of years back, before COVID actually. Yeah, we had some little bit of deliberate, but actually also as well, I'm into fashion as well as a company with one of my friend, which we've got a company called Laspi Original, where we are manufacturing school shoes as well. So with that one, I'll just pass. But again, my question also to the honorables is that, or rather it's most of a comment and a question at the same time. Hore, have you take thought in terms of bringing sport as a compulsory thing in schools? I've got all my reasons that I'm asking that. Under the circumstances of what is happening within the communities as far as that is concerned, more especially primary schools. I can tell you that I'm called in different schools, which I recommend them as public schools, but in the suburban areas. And what I see there, it's far different from the schools in the locations, rather. I beg your pardon. So in this regard, I was saying that, is there a possibility that you introduce that as a compulsory thing rather than kids finding them waiting for school transport, which is delaying, 1, 2, and kids idling? Because the idling part starts at the primary level and it's a continuous thing going to secondary, you know. And you know that we are under a stigma, which is the prima is busy with in terms of nyaupe and whatnot. But I'm requesting that, can you do that as one of the primary things? Because it's one of the things that kids, and you might virtue because you want to focus on the academical point of view. But with other learners, they've got some little bit of weaknesses coming to academical stature. So I'm requesting that the department also look into that. And also, again, as an SGP member, now I'm coming as an SGP member, can it be that the IDSOs that are coming to schools be tasked to really deliberate in terms of what is happening in the schools? They must not just bypass. Because I'm going back what the previous speaker has said in terms of you seeing the chairperson being with the principal and whatnot, and all shenanigans are happening within the school. And end up now we're finding ourselves fighting and trying to fix what was done previously, or whatever that is happening within the schools. But with that said, I don't want to prolong much. I'm asking also the department that to take recognizance in terms of sports. We are lacking, and gradually we are finding ourselves in a desert where young kids are drowning into drugs and all other substances that are there. Thank you. I was saying that in a case that I would not want to disclose as far as that is concerned. I'm part of the SG. Oh, okay. You would find that there is an issue that you want to deliberate and you see a crisis in the school, right? But the IDSO would tend to take sides, not balance the equation in terms of that. I'm talking what was transpiring within our school, right? And it was us now ending up jumping, or rather trespassing in terms of protocol, going to the department to ask them to assist us, prolonging in terms of the report that we found, and which he never worked in terms of time frame that he was given as far as that is concerned. And we ended up passing him and going to the department, or to the district rather, to assist us, you know. And in that regard, it creates commotion altogether, because you could tell that literally a person is not balancing, or they are not neutral based on the situation that is happening at hand at that particular time.
Now, before I leave, I want you to talk to me about this ideas. So that singalamenti nje, because bonama camera. Because you see, maybe the IDSO that services the school is not doing enough, or is not doing, he or she is not doing things that are supposed to be happening like school in terms of curriculum, assistant, and so on. So, ngizothi mangisiceda la ukuthi kancane nami 5 minutes, because funa uyattenda lento, because most of the time people say things about officials and only find that is not true. And at thina siyasuka la, we are parliamentarians, we go out and go and deal with that poor fellow and only find that that person akenzanga anything at all. There are protocols in the department, as you said, you know that, but we must be able to be careful about. If I say to you, HOD is always here at our school, but our school is not improving, I'm now insinuating something. So we must be able to balance our discussion. But ngizocela meet after this.
Okay.
Thank you. Sanbonan. Igama Wiseman Wagalanga from the organization ebizwa Ivukakasi, Efosorus. I'm E1 or yes, E1. HOT, thank you so much for your report. it's a beautiful report. Siyabonga. Sibonge also MEC lo ongeneva wakhe MEC Shilwane uPanyaza. No HOD if bengikhona ngabe ngithatha something ngibonge uMEC for I standard as setted for our province ukuthi at least uMEC ongenile, you know, ashaye from that ayengaphezulu. When you talk about us not having reached 100% here and there, we are hoping with the new MEC uzokwazi ukuthi asithathe asise ku-100%. Singabonga futhi kanjalo. Mine one through your chairperson. The drivers of this success, HOD. Kukona, the administrators, I have seen a number of funded programs that you've mentioned. But there's one, and because of the action engabonakali from your department, as abahlali, we've decided to see we've developed a 3-year program, eyokubonga abo teacher. Note that abo teacher environment abasebenza kuyo currently ayifani nesikhathi thina bisesikolweni. And if ayifani nesikhathi bisesikolweni and inzima the way inzima ngakhona, ni department kunelanga eli1 onyakeni okuthiwa is the World Teachers Day, and you are not doing anything to acknowledge, appreciate and motivate these teachers. Sesocela ke thina ukuthi nina ni department ni support thina. Angithi sesiqalile and we've developed a 3-year program. Ni support so that we are able to reach to each and every school or each and every teacher ukuthi siyabonga. Because to us it's very important and relevant. Ukuthi the drivers of this success must be appreciated and thanked at all times. Ile bit mangiphakamele. Thank you so much.
Okay. Uthi but Wiseman, uthi nenzani as for our teacher this World Teachers Day, what are your programs?
We've just started this year a Fosoras.
Okay.
Intention ukuthi siye on the other parts of the province.
Okay.
Ukuthi senze something ngelanga la.
Okay.
It's either we have this year we had speakers from umphakathi wethu abafundi kulabo teacher laba who will come and give a presentation and thank them. But going forward, we want to invite or involve as many teachers as possible.
Okay.
Sibe nezinto ezi more than lunch or gala dinner.
So
that we are able to
did
see.
you approach the district?
Yes, we've been working with the district,
Okay.
but I'm saying we want to go bigger.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, thanks very much. Let me allow the MEC and the HOD to respond quickly. And then just for those that are worried that Upanyaza say MEC, let me just quickly respond to this, that we are very proud that education has produced a premier. So we are very proud of that. And I have no doubt that the new MEC Chilwane will do the same. Because Ubaba Panyaza Lusufi na beke ngasebenza ewayo. Beke sebenza nale team enibonayo including ourselves. So we have no doubt that the same support that Premier Lusufi was getting with education, the MEC Chilwane will get the same. Because education is not a one-man show, ain't it? It's a collective wisdom as Dilangai. So be rest assured. Remember, I was a chairperson of the portfolio committee before he becomes the the MEC. So he's knowledgeable on issues that we are dealing with. So be rest assured. Angeti skichimisana ne Free State for position 1. We are going to claim that spot at the end of the year. I have no doubt about that. We are going to claim that #1 spot. As long as Sishai Western Cape, it's good. It's good. Because previously our competitor was Western Cape. Now it's no longer Western Cape. Western Cape is now number 3 or 4. Now we're dealing with Free State MEC. We are going to approach, We visited our exam center, HOD. And I can tell you the commitment we have seen to these young people writing their papers. It's amazing. And the discipline that we have seen. There's no leakage of papers in Gauteng, nothing. There's proper security. The infrastructure allows our kids to write in an environment where we can be proud and say, number one, Rikamtola. So I'm appealing to all of you. Premier Lesofise Premier, I say MEC. Let's get used to that. We have a new MEC, it's MHC Chilwane. Umatume Chilwane. It's from Mila Eguruleni. So please make sure that you give him the support he needs. There's a BMW FB58CK GP. Ama window akavuli. Please close your windows.
Okay. Which one must I use? Must I use this one? Can you still record? Okay. Regular Trumping, Maholo. Tobela. Sanbonan. I'm Shane. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir. Are you? You're good. That's good. Thank you so much. Let me appreciate this opportunity, honorable members. Again, Department HOD, thank you for presenting our annual report. I really think that what is important about this report, it shows the level of commitment that as a department we have for our own responsibility. You know, Gauteng is not just any province, Honorable Machek. You know, this is the melting pot of the country. You know, everything starts and ends here. You know, even what we do, how we advance, is shown by this province. The many successes. I mean, today you are speaking about the Premier, who, by the way, I can't say anything. I hear you saying I must do better. You know, I read a book many years ago called 48 Laws of Power. The first law says, you must never outshine the master. So let them go some miracle. Le batla or ke phale master yaka ke le khwalaka. But doesn't mean that the standard must drop. Yeah, hopefully over time, mosebetsi tla ipuela. So, but I agree. I'm happy that the reputation is there, HOD. The leadership of the department is still there. You have the HOD is still there. You have the DDGs are still here. So basically the brain, the core, the content of this department is still there. So you can be rest assured as residents of this province that Gauteng Department of Education still remains the same and it's very stable and the plans are still there as well. So back to the issues. There are issues that I'll leave to the HOD to respond. I'll just touch one or two things so that, you know, they always say that how ka fitla meeting and then you don't speak. And then the following day there's a leakage. But Lord Kola na tozi. So Lena must say something. So I'm hoping all the members will also say something. The issue of language is very important. I agree. I think it's something that we need to address very quickly. I wanted to further ask, are those children, house choice, those are transported through scholar transport or is it their own private transport that is taking them, even come from Mo to Tema? Or we are providing those services? Okay, no, that's fine. Yeah, okay. No, Rautla, ma'am. Okay, no, it's fine, mama. I hope I already bounce again. Yes. No, it's fine. No, really that one. I think some of the issues, Bakhaitz, we can't give a response. We must just act. For example, this one of Abet, Asintolo Transikere, we are going to look into it. I think it's an issue that you have noted. We are going to get the minutes and we're going to ensure that Abet Ibateng in this community. And it's very important. It brings us to this issue that is very important that Steve, who's else? Wiseman, the issue of the community. A school is part of the community. It's an integral part of the community. So community must not be far from the school. We need to ensure that we protect the school. Even the school is there to develop not only Bana Barona, but it's also there to also assist to develop the community itself. That's why you even have these facilities. If we build a ground here, the community can come and even apply and say, can we use this sports field on a Sunday to have a soccer match for the local teams, So the school itself, so we need to ensure that as community members, we come close to the school, we participate in the school, we are able to protect and guard how the school develops. That is very important, so that even such issues of Abet are able to find reflection. But if we are far, and then Rafita, whenever we pass here, we think this is just a school of the department or a government. It's not a school of government. It's a school of the community of Painville. It's your responsibility to ensure that it plays a part in your own development as much as you are going to play a part in its development. Because part of the problem that we are having in the province is vandalism. Vandalism is a big problem. And because of that, we are unable to move at the speed that we want to move. We are unable to develop the schools or the infrastructure at the speed that we want to do. Because as we fix, we leave, we come back, because that school is functional. We can't say, because people came and they stole a roof, because we can't allow criminals to win against us. But we need you to help us to understand that once they do that, you are depriving others who are still waiting for those schools' infrastructure. We have a big backlog. I'm sure amongst other things, you'll see that some of our schools are overcrowded. It's not a situation that we want. The situation that we want is a classroom of 25 to 30. So that it also allows Wiseman, as you said, you are recognizing teachers. One of the things that research has found that a big class prohibits learning and teaching. It disturbs it. It also impacts, because our teachers are an integral part in this system. When they're demoralized, they are unable to do what we want them to do. So a crowded class also has a potential. In fact, it was the number one HOD when they were doing research as the number one issue of concern by many teachers. Or an overcrowded class is their biggest problem, because they are unable to control. So, but this is it's a ripple effect. They vandalize the infrastructure. We are unable to go and build a new school quick enough, because we're still resolving what has been messed up by criminals. And the community is not there. And to tell the truth, these criminals live amongst us. You find Mutuko Strate, Utsuri tablet, young one school, we put where's that thing tablet you? Some of them, they're even taking them, they're even selling them, HOD. I'm told one tablet was found, even in a foreign country. Because these tablets have got trackers. How did you get to that point? I'm saying that that's what we need to come together. The community must play a greater part. And that brings us to the issue of Ndate Steve around school leadership. We do have Matthew Koniwe, a school of leadership. What we should be doing now, HOD, is to see how do we strengthen so that it reaches more. You know, as much as we want to, we capacitate our teachers, our senior managers in school, meaning principals. But we also, the SGBs, the training must be quicker, and the training must also be, it must not be a once off, or a 20 minutes, 30 minutes training, then you are done. Then you assume that the SGBs are aware what they must do. It needs to, we need to ensure that the program is much more comprehensive. That's why I can say, tell you now, Matthew Koniwe is moving to a direction where this training that they will be giving to our school governing bodies and our educators, they will be credited. They'll be certified. They're going to get a certificate, meaning that they will be assessed, that they do have an understanding of what they need to do. You know, that's the direction that we are moving in, so that we close this gap. Because where there's no leadership, you'll see the problems start in leadership more than anything. Structure is there in place already. You know, the resources are there in place already. But if the leadership aspect is weak, the school will be weak. That's why we have a school in Katlehong Tech. It's a school of specialization. The principal there is leading by example. It's one of the best schools in the whole province. It's better than even private schools that parents are paying 60,000 in Kuro for. But that is precisely because of the school leadership. You know, a simple thing. When you are a principal, you must. You can't be a principal or a teacher. You're walking past one class site clean. You can see that the whole way is not clean. You know, kids. When you are a teacher, you are a mentor as well. So when they see you picking up, they'll also begin to pick up. You know, as an example. So that is the simple example I can give with regard to the school leadership and the role that Matthew Koniwe must begin to go the path it needs to take. Yeah. Curriculum development, we agree. You know, the beauty about this, I know everything takes time, but as a department, we have, in terms of curriculum development, we do have. And I don't think we are, if you think there's something that is there that it needs to be considered, it's your future. It's your school. You know, if you don't have children, your children are going to come into the system. You know, so you can come. There's nothing wrong. Come if you think this is what the department must consider offering. We are there. You know the beauty about having a new MEC, I'm like a greenfield. I'm open to new ideas. You know, I'm really open to any new ideas. I'm not fixed. You know, when somebody's got a vision for long, you start chasing it, you don't listen to anyone else. Now I'm open to new ideas. Come forward. Let's talk about it. Let's engage. You know, so don't feel that that there's no door that you can knock and get a response, Lebohang. School sports, it's something that needs to be amplified. We know that COVID did disrupt a lot of this space. It did disrupt this space, but it's something that is high on our agenda currently, and also in the next year. I'm sure the HOD will speak about some of the activities activities or programs that are in place to ensure that we begin to revive school sports. You know, 80% of your life learning, you don't learn in class, you learn outside. You know, so the social aspect is what develops and builds your character to survive in life. You know, so we know that in class it's academic. You know, 20%, 80% of character outside. You know, so we know that very well, and that's why we insisted. You know, during COVID, when they said close, when Doomsday was saying no close, Banaba close, we said no. with research, and research advised us, because we knew that keeping children at home is not going to work. We are going to affect them. You know, they are going to be despondent. You know, they are going to believe that their future is doomed. So we had to ensure that, amongst other things, we bring them into school so they understand that no, the future is there. What we have begun with them many years ago in grade R, grade 1, is still continuing. You know, that's why this year, amongst these matriculants, we have the most resilient. You know, these matriculants, I can tell you now, that we are targeting 100%. That's our target, Chair. We're not teaching children to fail. Have faith as a reina. Reina baruta or pass. That's our official target. Kenya, we want you to pass. But if they fail, don't come back and say, "Me see, you said 100%. No, the learner should have prepared to pass. That's why we've put everything possible in place to ensure that learners pass. We've got intervention programs such as SIP. We've got all those psychosocial units. We've done everything that could be done for them to pass. They know now, even those that are writing now, Chair, that this is about their future and they have to do what is right for themselves. There's so much that we can do, and we've done everything. We can assure you, parents, that we've done everything. There's nothing that we have not done to make sure that the children pass. So it's up to them. But I'm hopeful. I'm confident that we'll get the desired results. So in terms of teacher support and awards, we do have awards to recognize our teachers. We do recognize our teachers. A teacher is the spinal cord of this whole system. You know, so once it gets disrupted, then we have a problem. Fortunately, within our province, the unions, there was a view that there should be a strike. There was a proposal of a strike. But because teachers understand their role in society, in this whole system, they said no. Those unions said, no, we're not going to go and strike. If you want to strike, it's okay. We know what is our role, you know, and this makes us proud, you know, as a department, that we have these morally high educators who understand that it's not about the immediate, but it's about the future. You know, so that's why you could see, irrespective of how these public sector unions have been saying, let's go on strike, but our educators have said no. They're in schools, they're observing exams, and they're also teaching at the same time. And that's what makes us proud, you know. And I agree with you, the recognition should be done, but it should not be done for a day. You know, like you as a husband or a wife to your husband, to a wife, I don't think that munna how muhupulaka Valentine's only. You must, even during the year, so our teachers like them, the day, you know, even during the year, many other activities are done. Amongst the things that we show to our educators that we really care about them is the investment we do in them. You know, the way we capacitate them, you know, the training, the reskilling, you know, as we move to 4IR, because it's a reality, you know. In fact, Gauteng teachers, those actually who were at the exit age of teaching, you know, the elder, you know, ordinarily, you know, we would have been scared, worried that, hey, we have an older profession. You know, some of our teachers are old. They might not be, you know, comfortable with moving towards computers, you know, this smart ICT aspect. But they are the ones who received it the most. In fact, some of them, they are the winners because of that, you know. So we have some of the best educators who are amenable to change, who are flexible, who understand that this is where the world is going, and they're also there. So our teachers, yes, I agree that more should be done to reward them and recognize them. That's why we need NGOs like yourself and many other NGOs that are available to assist us to ensure that they continue to recognize our teachers in our communities. You know, we need to protect them as an asset, because educator is where all professions begin, and we need to ensure that we at all times we protect them. I have left some of the questions to the HOD. They're a bit technical. HOD will respond. Then we'll take it from there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, MEC. HOD.
Thank you very much. Thanks, MEC, for clarifying those big issues. Sis Joyce, I think the issue here, the dominance, okay, Sis Joyce. Okay, the issue here, the dominance, and maybe it's important, Rehlalose, along these lines. Remember, firstly, the language policy of a school is a responsibility of the SGB. I get it. So if, for argument's sake, more community the dominant language is Xhosa as compared to isiZulu or Setswana, you would then, as the SGB at the AGM at the parents meeting, vote for the introduction of that particular language or subject. Ne? So that's what, and I think that's why that parents, let's all be available, so that we must take advantage of these. It's in your hands. But where, and secondly, the big issue is we must also be careful when there are more than 40 learners. A number of 40 children constitute a class. So if there are 25 children or 30 children in this community wanting a particular language, but this language is offered Potema or Niger, wherever the case may be, from a financial point of view, we tend to then say it's cheaper to bus you there than to introduce, because it means how ruthless a center appoint an additional teacher. Now imagine our appointed teacher only to teach one class for the whole day. It may not be cost effective. Yes, Chair.
Ngicela ningene ngaphakathi etendeni sosqueezana ne. Kune space la phambili, ngicela ningene ninganethwa imvula. Nala emva kwethu ningahlala ningasaphi. Just a second, HOD hore bacela.
Thanks, Chair.
Thatha isitulo sakho uze naso phambili. Abanye bangahlala la emva kwethu ninganethwa.
Huchori, this meeting is blessed.
Yeah.
So everything e irahala mona e thotse dipula tsa matlhonolo. 100% noma kanjani. Chairperson, silethele 100% ekuruleni.
Bantwana bami lapha emuva ozani izohlala ngala. Nizonethwa lapho ozani asifuni phathwe yiflu. Ngena netendeni.
Can I? So I think the issue here, the dominance, language ya Xhosa sa bana ba ba transferwang re tlo khopela le district, because district ite mona they will look into it and determine how many children are being bussed out of here. But here's another problem. Every school in a capacity. Skolo sena capacity ya sona, when I was asking the principal, I think it was built for 600 or less, up to a maximum of 800. Today, Harry Bulela Biana, Skolo se capacity ya sona has gone to 1,500. So Laibona Huri, the principal did not close the school or no, I'm not taking children anymore. So we expanded. But he can't expand it beyond a point more long where it will become even dangerous for Banababali Moskolo. So for that reason, we ask communities to also work with us through the districts to find solution. That is why Banababa Tloha Mo Baba Rutang Xhosa Baya Kwatema Reba Fast Caller Transport. The responsibility is no longer on the side ya Mozadi, it's on the side ya government. And that is why we're spending 1.2 billion rands annually to transport children in Gauteng from one area to another. And remember, we are a cosmopolitan province. Arisana section ya Maxhosa section ya we are one community. And what becomes important here, how do we then live together in that element of diversity? As it relates to foreigners, well, we all know that South Africa is part of a global community, different international conventions. Ha Motu Ali in South Africa legally, there is no way that you will refuse them legal participation in the services of government. But it does not mean that South Africans must suffer. South Africans must not suffer, but equally, as in terms of universal declaration, of human rights and otherwise, we cannot allow people not to have access to such services. But we will continue to monitor. And indeed, if there are young people that are admitted at the expense of South Africans when they don't qualify, that is a problem. But it's a matter that we will look into. MEC, we agree ABET will be introduced. Dadeselo has spoken about a very important matter of the training of SGBs. And when he talks about the joining of associations, now let me be an advert for you, Dadeselo. It's true, SGBs can belong to associations. So there is nothing wrong. There are many other different associations. You can go and elect to join them, and therefore we are not. And in fact, when associations they get recognized by the department, and the MEC quarterly holds meetings leading SGB associations so that they can share ideas, policy development areas of Tsedina Lematat. Lebohang obolela ka fourth industrial revolution. But MEC, I think we must also respond to Lebohang in this way. That the first province to actually introduce e-learning at the scale at which it did, ke Gauteng. So if you go to our township secondary schools, you will know that we had this concept of a paperless classroom. We were able to beat COVID, the effects of COVID, not necessarily beat COVID, the effects of COVID, because we had our classrooms where learners could be able to connect. So we are moving in that direction, but clearly we know that fourth industrial revolution is also thinking into the future. So as the MEC says, we will welcome any other additional, when innovation and developments come, we must be relevant. Honorable Machagi is a member of the the Portfolio Committee for Economic Development. And I'm so happy that Mpo raises the issue of manufacturing of school shoes. And you know that the government of Gauteng has also recently approved the Township Economic Bill. Act now, rather. It's actually it's an act. And what it seeks to do is to try to promote township economy, township enterprises, so that SMMEs, and though everybody in a township, money must rotate within the township. As you do that and build township economies, we will be able to get ourselves out of poverty. So when you have school shoes manufacturing company, like you're saying, I mean, it's in our interest that we also begin to look into that and see how you take advantage of the provisions in the Economic Development Act. MEC, the MPO also raises an issue at sports, which you responded to. But to be more precise, MPO, what we are also trying to do is to start to introduce leagues in all township schools. Unfortunately, if we were to be looking at which sports, there are two primary sports that are quite phenomenal in respect of currently in our schools is rugby and cricket. They are well. We want to bring soccer. We want to bring all other different forms of sports, cross country, running, and so on. So we are talking about Wednesday sports and Wednesday leagues in respect of bringing sports back. But not only about sports, one of the other things that we are also doing, which districts must help us monitor, is that there is, in the foundation or in primary schools especially, there is physical education. It's a component of the curriculum. So we expect that our schools, and the principal, when I spoke, young people in this school, there's a foundation phase playground that side, there's an intermediate. I think this ground where we are, that's where the senior phase and intermediate phase young people play. So it is happening, but we want to expand it to all schools. The issue of IDSOs, Honorable Mpisi has spoken to. Let me not talk too much to it. And finally, we cannot agree more with the other wise men on the issue of Chairperson, the issue celebrating our teachers. In fact, MEC would have said an education system rises and falls on the quality of its teachers. And we therefore, without teachers, there can't be an education system. And it is in that context that we will continue to support them as time goes on an ongoing basis. But let me thank you, Chair, and the members.
Thank you, HOD. I'm not sure go to corner savugelo moya. If there's anyone who funu kuluma, last round le. Yeah, so nigeza proactive. We are inspired, but we want to know what inspires you. So maybe one of you will tell us. Let me give you mama number 1. Ngikaluze ngaphambili mama. Number 2 Menerika Sporty. Number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6. I do my atamaya kere. Please kopariska lolo ne. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. 2 minutes go boxing ring is too much. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes just to say what you want to say, but be mindful of time. While proactive are looking for one of them to speak to us.
Thank you very much. Thank you for this opportunity. I just want to confirm that I'm invited. I just didn't come because I'm uninvited. What I want to say is that our education is relevant internationally. I am Mrs. Masamola and I come from Vosloorus. I worked at Zonke Zizwe Secondary School as a first principal there, and I had a misconduct. My department
and
before that.
Almost
All right, before that. The school is at the socio-economic challenged area. However, we managed in that school to send a child to Armenia, and he went to the USA, and that's where he qualified. He's back to the country, and he's working as a programmer, and he's the chief of staff in Standard Bank. I want to thank Mr. Msue because I used to walk into his office and say, Mr. Msue, the money for plane, the money for that, and so on. And now the child is serving our community. That's why I'm saying our education is relevant internationally. I'm here, I want to speak about, however, the role of the political parties. I want to talk particularly to the ANC and the members of the Ward 62 in Zonke Zizwe. Mrs. Masamula, they displaced me after I have served after I have served for my misconduct. However, the ANC, you have no right, because you are not the administrators, to get into the discipline of how to discipline the employees. I served my sentence, and therefore I have an award even now. When I was supposed to be reinstated, they reorganized the whole community to come and kill me. I am alive. I have been snapped. You can go and find it, it's there. I have been snapped in the shopping complex by a boy, and I went to the police, and there is still a case which is still pending. Now, what I want to say here is, there are many challenges, they were mentioned here, that we are going through many, and there are also flaws in our system as we work into the education. We want to have the integrated work and to work with the communities, but I think it's important that they should know where do their roles start and where do their role end. The interference displaces. I am very, very disappointed that the school in which we were at 92.6% in terms of the pass rate, it has gone down, and the school right now, it's flat on its knees. It hurts if you have seen the school growing and have left it at 86.6 and it has gone back. Now, for the ANC people, we might not be the card carrying, or we might not be wearing your t-shirts, but we vote ANC when we go to voting. Because you don't know what we are voting when we go there, but we vote ANC. And therefore, it must be disciplined. Right now, the schools are in the mess due to COSAS. And we don't see their leaders to come and give order to these young men. I had boys whom I have sent to be arrested. I went back to say to the police, please release them, because I understood that if I leave them into those cells, their education is doomed. The support we have, I must confirm, we do have the SIP, we do have the ICT, we do have the brick and mortar and everything, but the vandalism in our communities are unbearable. It's too much. Right now, the department actually repaired for Pomola with 300,000 rands the electricity in 2020. Today, as we speak, there's no electricity in one block. And right now, there must be ICT along the whole school. The vandalism into the areas is unbearable.
As you close.
Yes, now, what I'm saying, if the communities can begin to be encouraged that the education, it must go on and on. The white schools beat us because they built on what they had. And our money that we are given from the department might not be enough. But liburu we are not able to add up because we go 4 steps behind after we have went up. Lastly, the 100% that we need, we might get it in paper, yes, because the educators are working. I'm worried about the morality of the learners that we have. Bana ba rona ba tella hle. Bana ba rona ho itso ha thupa e emiswa everybody has distanced them. I'm appealing to the fathers, to the male figures here, about father, including all of you. And there's no lady here. I wonder why. So that tells me there's something wrong. Yeah, there must be a gender balance here, right? So please come and encourage the learners, be visible, be there and talk to our boy children. Otherwise, we are going to lose them. And we don't anymore take the girl child to work. We take children to work. However, our boy children are lost, and the rate at which they are behaving, it's worrying, especially the drugs at school.
Thank you, ma'am.
I thank you.
Mema Semola, I understand why Boshaw HOT ngelimi. But again, it's very important that before you leave, can I have a word with you? Please, ma'am.
Sambona nonke. Lo mela phambi kwenu uColin Mavimbela from Davidton, Ward 69. Under i-office PCO, parliamentary constituency office. Chairman, my concern, or it's a concern uzang director, sine problem as isihleli lapha e-officeini. Sinikezwa ama-task ngokuhlukahlukana kwawo. Indaba ye-student lezi eziserve under i-NSFAS eziye za-graduate but it happened ukuthi zingatholi i-certificate, zithole ama-statements. Sikhulumela entweni yokuthi ewodini lami alone ziyi-1500 ziyasebenza, but manje i-problem ezibabambile ukuthi ama-certificate abawatholi, so abakhona ukuthola ama-promotion ema-company lawa abaseva kiyo. So iyakhula inamba yakhona ezinjengoba sa-approacha lo nyaka uphela. One, and then two, I don't know, indaba ma-teachers assistants, the plan before iqalwa bokuyini, and then if there was a plan after say i-contract yabo iphelile kuyini bokuthiweni. Maybe azange actually understand, because ubathola bayancedisa ezikoleni bayenza ama-up and down, mayiphela i-contract yabo bayabuyela bayohlala. It's like it's a recycler i-poverty. So ngisazama uku-understand kuleyo mara nikhona ne-leadership nizasitshengisa ukuthi kwenzakalani. On the ku-sports ezikolweni, man, I pray ukuthi if kuba ne-sports asithatheni i-coach outside especialize nge-sport, not u-teacher abe ayo-coach. Asichasheni sitshengise ukuthi nathi siya-improve kancane ezikoleni zethu zokuhlala endaweni yethu yokuhlala. Ngizogcina lapho, ngiyabonga.
Siyabonga. Number 3.
Sanbonan. Firstly, I would like to just mbingelele bonke abakhona lana, and also to congratulate MEC yethu for taking over after our premier. Siyazi ukuthi bathi ngesilungu a new broom sweeps clean, something like that. So siyathemba ukuthi yonke into ekhona izohamba ihamba kahle. Sorry, yazi i-timing yabanye abantu. Umuntu sekangifonela uma sengiza la phambili. Okay, into bengathanda nje ukuthi ngiqale kuyo lana ne. First of all, I would like to appreciate vele ukuthi we had an opportunity. Mina ngiu Joseph Cordeiro kaMaphanga, ngihlala khona lana Ward 75 khona la ePenville. Istrat Samlis. So uma ngifuna nje uzula la uzongithola. All right. Number 1, ngiwarisha ukuthi I don't see most of the members or community members bakulendawo. I don't see most of them here, or I don't see any of them except for myself. And yet lento ilan ingat ngoba ngizwa zonke izizwe Foslorus, Katlehong, and wonke umuntu khona except for iPenville. So kusho ukuthi kunenkinga somehow. I think the information did not come out properly. Principal ngiyamazi personal, I sit with him most of the time, and masikhuluma few weeks back, if I may say so, washo ukuthi kuzoba nalo mhlangano, but it was a limited invite ngokwazi kwakhe. Only today, that's when he said, no, I think everyone can come, or most of the people can come. Manje, we almost saying spread the message in Choguchi, no, most of the people abeko, including the councillor bekumela bekhona la. But unfortunately, she did not get the proper or the formal invite which abekon. But lento ngathanda ukuthi ngisho kakhulu lana, it's this. First of all, kundabe information, we were supposed to spread the information properly. Ukuthi ama residents akwazi ukuthi abe part and parcel of this meeting, because it's also in our community. But then le subwasibon, I think some other time. But okay, into engathanda ukuthi ngikhulume lana, I think maybe kuba party in regards Guma SGB. I know Gucci, I stand to be corrected, but from what I know, Gucci SGB can only be formed by the people at that school, Nabazal Baguleso school. So the community does not participate ku SGB. And yet, let's call like Painville, we form part of Painville. But aguna muntu ogu party SGP ozokwazi ukuthi akhulumele isikolo, and thina ezabazali bala we do have ama sporting codes esingathanda ukuthi singa integrate esikolweni, and which is something that is happening so far, or we're going towards that way, no principal and the leadership school. But unfortunately, look SGB, there's no one there. Now this has taken too long. Les Cololes has been here for what? Since 2012, 10 years now, or somewhere. But aguna any activity that involves the community, except for one or two that we can mention. But most of them, they haven't happened. For 10 years, it's a very poor response. So now that Ienzo Guti, we don't have a lot of people in the community, because most of us here, including myself, my kids don't go to this school. But it doesn't mean that they cannot benefit from the presence of the school Gulendao, because the school benefits from one. We do have a patrolling system. I have shared with the principal, we do have documents that show which we do take care of his school, we patrol and we make sure which we do things as the school must be protected. So that is what we do. In the midnight hours, we are busy here patrolling, and then we report, we open the cases, we take them to the police station, and we do have valid cases about these interests in Zagalai. But the other thing also, the relationship that we have forged with them, Orangaga Pumugule issue SGP, I think maybe the Kuba party, the leadership should try and see at least if we can have one, even though may not be a parent kule scholar, may not be a teacher kule scholar, but at least to integrate somebody from the community, because most of the learners in this school are from Lana Epenville, but in the rural settlement, I mean not rural, informal settlement. So obviously, for those who can afford to take their kids to other schools, will not take them to this school. But apparently the school is in our community. It's a Painville, and this is a place where Nama members of the community are part of it.
Sure.
So the other thing is Yama Sports. Yeah, sing Valangayo Sports. Sing Valangendaba Sports. In Daba Sports, this is what we've been running, no principal and the leadership. And what made it Uchinga and Zagal Uchisibana something in Zagal is because the SGB is nowhere to be found. It's very difficult to find them, and that's the cry out Yaga principal Magang Jello, which is difficult to find them. And yet they've been elected corner whenever there's a need which Bakulumeng. So for years and years and years we've been asking which Astaleni parts, but the principal does not have the powers to make the decision in SGB. So my cry out to Gucci, something must be done about that. And also the fact that in Ngobalana, yes, we do have this field, but this field is just, we only see it's a field for soccer. We don't have a netball. We don't have a ground for a cricket. If you look around, and as a community, we did not just say sifunu sebenzisa isikolo as indawo for ukuthi si gym kuphela. But we want also to contribute ekutheni we will maintain the field. If kumele simark, if kumele sifaka ama nets, and then ngamalanga kuba namanye ama sports activities, as a community we come and support, because the kids balapha ku informal settlement, they are also our kids because they are in our community. So these are our our cries as a community. Sicela nje ukuthi let us have the opportunity ukuthi sebenzisane nesikole. And my last plea would be, please speed up on the issue infrastructure for sports. The field,
Okay.
neck round for Lentolena for in netball. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Number 4. This is Shiri. I want to select a state of the art school. The state of the art school is an sporting facility. Let's call it Sakala. Yeah. Go by shopping mall like Yabon.
Sanbanani, igama lami uMahlodi wakwamthiya, ngibuya from Ekwatema and Langaville Early Child Care Association. Not concern enkulu, sifila neglected as ama ECD centers, especially the home-based ECDs. Ama red tapes maningi, ukuze ama ECDs lawa a comply. Asikhona ukucomply with imithetho yonke yakamasipala. So ngaleyo ndlela leyo asikhona ukuthi si register ama ECDs. And ngibona ngathi logo kuyinkinga because isiqalo somntwana sibalulekile. Sibaluleke kakhulu. So if isiqalo somntwana sibheda, it means ukuthi umntwana angeke azakwazi ukuphumelela aye phambili ngendlela right. So ngokusho kanjalo siyacela ukuthi sicela ukunakwa, sicela ukuthi ama teachers wethu njoba sesingenile la ku Department of Education, ama teachers wama ECDs amaningi they are not qualified. Ama teachers ama ECDs amaningi awanikezi abantwana ukudla okuright, hayi ngoba bangafuni but because of ukungakhoni. Ama fees wasemalokishini mancane kakhulu, and ngapha bazama ukuthi benze izinto ukuze bafinyelele ekucomplyeni. So besicela ukuthi nisincede ngendlela yokuthi mhlambe njengoba i-report beyishilo ukuthi kukhona imali for nutrition, nathi nisifake kuleyo nto leyo nisifande for nutrition, so that sizokwazi ukuthi mhlambe the money eyenziwayo lencanyanyana bakwazi ukuthi benze izinto ezidingwa yiwo wonke lama departments ukuze bakwazi ukuthi babe registered as ama centers. And also ngo 2020 ama centers maningi ayewavala, and then kwathiwa si apply for a stimulus fund. We applied for a stimulus fund, sisese under the Department of Social Development. And then kuthe makuthatha I Department of Education, bathi yonke into izoqhubeka ngendlela le ebeyiqhubeka ngayo. But mase sizwa sizwa ukuthi manje we need ukuthi sicalele phansi si apply for I stimulus fund list. So laba ebese ba approve, so ngenzeka ukuthi manje bangasa approve aba decline. So asazi the reason
ukuthi ngakubamba umlomo my sister. Lento ukuthi bathi yabani sinika izi problem because thina sidila nge detail. Uma uthatha indaba engaphandle maybe strategy, let me just say strategy, and people say to you, you know, all the ECDs ngeke bathole funding, ngeke bathole this and that and that. If it's not an official department, that's not true. If that is not an official department, don't take it as truth, because people go out and say wrong things, and then at the end of the day, the name of the government is painted badly. And yet we have systems in place. And I'm happy you're talking about stimulus and all of these things. These things are still there. But the only thing is that I'm not going to take over the role of the MEC and the HOD. they will further clarify that. But I wanted to say that ama hearsay is not the truth. It remains a hearsay.
All right, ngiyabonga nokuthi uclarify lokho ke baba. So ngokusho kanjalo kulawo magama wakho lawo, the other thing a problem ukuthi asina proper communication between the departments ezikhona as ama ECDs. Njengoba no the previous speaker bekasho ukuthi mani nesimemo asifinyeleli ebantwini ekumele sifinyelele kubo. Sometimes makunama events afana nalawo ama seminars nazo zonke izinto sithola a night before, and then you have to leave everything else because you want information. You have to leave everything else behind uhambe uyoya lapho. So besicela ukuthi kube ne proper communications between the associations and the department. Yeah, and okugcina ke siyacela kakhulu uchazo njengoba bese ngishilo thina as association yaseThema bese siqalile ukuthi si engage ne community on Sunday nge-20 bekuyi World Children's Day. So siye sathatha upon us ukuthi sibize umphakathi wonke sizokwazi ukubafundisa ngeholistic development yomntwana ukuthi ngeholistic development yomntwana. So sifundise umphakathi ukuthi i-crash ezibasho i-crash akusindawo nje yokushiya umntwana for ukuthi uyahamba uyemsebenzini, but indawo la umntwana afundiswa khona ngokuphelele njengoba the previous speakers zigcizelele into yama sports. So nathi into esesiqalile leyo si engage nabantu abafana nabo Butlebu abazocala ama computer classes ema centers wethu, also with ama lifeguard wase Springs Pool ukuthi sizoba nama classes esizoba nawo like yes, I would say classes esizoba nawo every week labazofundisa khona abantwana swimming, because sifila ukuthi swimming it's not a sport but it's a life skill as well. Ngiyabonga.
Siyabonga Ausmahloli. Number 5. Thank you. Number 5. Otlabuwe. Number 6 kiwo. Number 6 wakakiwo.
All right.
Ufuna ukuyayithi.
Sanibonani nonke. To our colleagues, Education Portfolio Committee, all protocol observed. Mina igama lami nguMrs. Qinebe from BEC Satu branch eFosloras. Engimele ama teachers. As ama teachers, you know, parents and also colleagues who are facing so many challenges. And MEC siyacela hle, you promised us long time ago nge paperwork, and you are still facing a paperwork. Instead of teaching abantwana, into esiyenza kakhulu it's paperwork. Abantwana bethu, we don't have much time to teach them, but it's next khathesiningi salama paper maningi siwagcwalisayo. Besicela MEC ukuthi please sicela nisizeni nge paperwork. Also futhi sine problem overcrowding. In our schools, sinabantwana almost 70 to 80 learners in our classes. And sinjalo nje sinama social problems. And only to find that in our classes, kunabantwana that need support. How are we going to support abantwana whereby in a class we've got 80 learners and then 20 need support? And also we are faced with ATP. Le ebathi file siqede nge 4 weeks or a term, and it's so congested in a way yokuthi we don't even have time to remediate labantwana. So can you please nike check naleyo indaba yabo ATP, and then also sicele kubazali parental involvement abantwana discipline. And mina ngiphuma primary abantwana bethu hle sixakekile. You took corporal punishment, nothing enisinikeze yona after that. So we need to discipline labantwana, we don't know how. Because when we chase them out, it's a problem. Siyaxoshwa. Masiba shaya akufanelanga. Masithi mabahlale ekhaya akufanelanga kune policy, you must follow the policy. And policy yakhona, it needs SGP, it takes long. And uthola ukuthi abantwana bane anger. You know why they've got the anger? Because of our social problems. Bana abazali abasebenzi, abanye abana akho kuhle emakhaya, beza esikoleni belambile, beza banama problems. So thina as teachers, fanele sibe abo doctor, sibe ama nurse, sibe ama social worker, sibe yonke lento leyo. So siyasicelela ukuthi thina as ISADU sicela ukufundisa abantwana. Sifundise abantwana baphase. But to have all these challenges as we face, it's hard for us as teachers. So siyacela MEC Babumpisi, help us. Siyakhala as ISADU. Khona manje sikwazanga ukuyo strike yet. Siyazi ukuthi sithola ama peanuts, it's true. But we said because of our committed as ISADU, we are not going to strike because of this black child. So we are going to face all those challenges. Slibele siya phambili nalawo ma peanuts wethu. I thank you.
We don't pay peanuts. We pay salaries. It might not be enough, but it's a salary.
Sanibona nonke ekhaya. Umntwana nokwaziwa nginina. Wathuma mama ngwakwamhlanga isibongo. Ngibonge baba uJompisi no Honorable Shilwane as well. Ngi provincial acting chairperson kuNaskop. Kubhlungu kumnandi. Asigwinyeni konke nje. Kubhlungu kumnandi asigwinyeni. I'm a product Department of Education, and I'm proud of that. Ngingumzali. I'm coming from the background, Mr. Proven, whereby I didn't know anything about computer. But rest assured, I will thank the late lady who passed away. May her soul rest in peace, Mr. Rox Kupen. Owati, when an administrator, you must teach this man how to open a computer. So that when we have got your SGP meeting, there are things that the staff must not know, but you must be able to type it and send it to district or province. Thank you, Department of Education, for that. I'm a product of that. But now the challenge that I'm facing now is two type of people. There are people which you call them professional, and there are people which are calling. In the SGPs, I'm an SGP member. We have got professional people, we have got calling people. The professional people, the SGP that we're having now, they are looking after. They are looking after. How? They are no more having the interest to serve our community as a calling. But they want what? Project and looking after man. Ngiyabonga lapho. I want just to give you umpago bobaba. No itu. A curriculum is no more an extra. Sport is no more an extra curriculum, but it's a curriculum. Na umpago ke bobaba. Ngiyacela Mr. Edward, we are siphi imali ye Department of Education which is ring first. Sithenga ama textbooks senza konke ngayo. Ngicela MEC where sports, arts and culture anikezele naye a ring fence budget to schools so that schools can able to run sports. But kuzoqhashwa bo coach angithi lapho. Anibotishela babhatalwa ngedwathi msuku. Bo coach bazobhatalwa ngibani bona? Baphi? Where are they? Namhlanje the teachers njo lo usuka lapha nje manje lo esathu. Kumele abe ngithisha, abe coach, abe konke. But let's talk in language of job creation. Let's employ these people who gonna becoming the coaches in the schools, paid by the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture. I wena babu ushilwana. When you're spartara like education. Thank you for that. Mina ngiyamfuna MEC we sports, arts and culture. eze kithi asinike imali njengoba ne department isinika imali. Uyasinika ubaba uMsuku imali afuni i-auditor statement naye he or she must do the same. Sizokwazi ukuthi sirane effective schooling. But one of these challenges engibukile umphako wenu futhi lo. La edrobheni I'm honestly izolo inhliziyo yami ibebhlungu ngisebhinoni. Just over the street kunesikolo. Ngeke ngisisho igama laso. Mawubuka lesikolo there is no sporting facility. Angizakutshela khululeka. Uthula uzayithola wena. Over the street akuna sporting facility. Sithi labantwana abadlalephi balesikolo. And the very same department yethu of education babanikile certificate to occupy the space. Where are the sporting code? Namhlanje labantwana sibachanele lapha epassage lapha road say where the drugs are taking place. Badlala lapho manje. Number one. Number two, the very same school. Othisha balapha. Mina I'm happy ngo Edward Msuku. Ntate Msuku yalebo that. I'm happy about you. Uthe Edward Msuku la ikolweni ake sibukeleni abothisha bala eSouth Africa. Singabalandi kakhulu ngaphandle. But the very same mina nginayi private school because of le community private school kimali sebenzi. Le mali babu Jompisi enibanika yona lapha enithini ngama private school is our tax money abayimelanga I curriculum ngeyenu. But the very same so-called private school bachashe othisha bangaphandle abangenama permit kwayekelwa labo thisha bethu abala. We are no more having a problem nge-maths ne science. Ikhona incane but English ke akeniye kule ikolo lezi which we call it private schools. Othisha balapha I'm giving you a package ukuthi 95% of them they are foreigners. 95% of them they don't have work permit. But bafundisa abantu bethu babafundisana. Ngiyanicela mina ise package ukuthi go and revisit the schools. Ziningi. Nala Springs ikhona. Engibonile Binoni izolo. Itutule izefika yaya kuleso sikole athi principal. Kwenzakalani? Washobele wavumbuka. We don't know what end up saying, but I'm saying to the legislature today, please let's go and look at all these schools which we were so called in the private school in independent. But tholi malikiti. So iloko nje baba engicela ukuthi nisiphathele kodwa okugcina. Lo honestly angithi ngiphethe represent the province. Ngicela nisiphathele lo owakha igoli. I know Edward Msuku no babushilwa nabazakhe. But sine semkhukhwini la. Siyokwakhiwa nini isikolo? Because of sizokwakhiwa sona. Kunezinye ikolo engeke ngizisho ngegama. Ziningi. Oh, Barcelona Primary. Quantum. Amos Mapanga. I can name them. It's a lot in my pack, in my bag. Ziyokwakhiwa nini? We once have a meeting. No infrastructure. But bajobela bavumbuka asithola ukuthi sokwakhiwa nesikolo. Sicela ikolo, thank you.
Siyabonga. Okay, order. Ubaba usinikeza umphako. Mara sisafuna kumengage kulo mphako lo. What is his responsibility kulo mphako?
Kiyalidumedisa kaofela. Greetings to all. They say protocol observed. Ntate Shilwane Matlhatsi Matlonolo. We believe this baton but there are challenges, and I'm one of the SGB. I want to share with you the frustrations we are encountering
in our schools. We've got a roof which was blown away by weather in 2020, still open by now. When I went to the school the day after it was blown away, I was told that the district is aware of it, they will repair it. Up until today, is not yet repaired. Primrose, one of the high schools in Primrose. My name is Mukoni. The surname is Motlhake. Currently, because that building was saving the swimming pool, we are even forced to close the swimming pool. That is a minor one. The main building, the insurance has lapsed around June. We are failing to get a new insurance because of the cracks and the other problems within the building itself. The district knows about it. Freiberg High School. I want to elaborate more on that. I'm afraid, Mr. Musue, what my colleague has just said about your office, I can't repeat it. We've got 2 investigating reports in your office for more than a year. We never received any outcome. So we can't repeat what they've said. To us, it's a disaster. The conflict between the SGB and the management. In short, the SGB was even put on hold. The head office was at the school, the province was at the school, the district was at the school. Up until today, they are not yet back. When things didn't go right, they said the SGB come back. On which basis? No, continue will come. Because we are the parents, we've got the love of the school, we had to come back. During that process, one of our ground staff employed by the department went to pension. She has not yet been replaced. When we speak to the district, they say they are doing the investigation. That is the third one. Lastly, I'll speak to all, the department and the parents. One of my colleagues spoke about discipline. There is a problem which includes substance abuse. During the school hours, we see the learners around the park, around the street. We need your help as a department. Some of the parents, when they see us, they know us, they run away. Because they know we can't take it. They need to be in the school.
As you conclude.
As I conclude.
Yes.
Honorable Mr. Mbisi.
I got a deal again Parliament.
Okay.
I've been generous and give you more minutes. I said 2 minutes, but I'm very generous. I've allowed all of you to speak longer.
You read my mind.
Yes.
That one was the last one.
Thank you so much.
I thank you.
Ralemua, I've requested the proactive ladies to tell us what are they doing Because that message is powerful, we can't just ignore it. Are you a stakeholder in education? So who's going to speak on your behalf? Niyenzani sifuna ukunisiza nibe ingcenye yethu. Imbokoti yasaba. I've taken interest because this message is powerful. So I want to know, what are they doing in education?
Ninjani? Siyaphila. I'm sure niyabona emuva ne? It's isasa. Hayi le grant. It's an NGO, which means Start Awareness Support Action. It basically deals with GBV within our communities. So this is about education. I'm sure niyazibuza ukuthi education GBV hlangana. But there is GBV nasey'kolweni, guys. So I'll speak on the GBV aspect of it. Children are being raped at schools. Children are being beaten at schools. I'm sure we've seen videos circulating of children being beaten by other learners. What are we doing about that? I'd also like to add on in terms of sports. We only speak about sports, but there's also culture. There's also arts also involved. Ne? What are we doing? When we compare schools from IB, private schools, and ikolo zala elokishini, there's a huge gap. What are we doing to close that gap? Ne? We need to avoid abantwana baselokishini moving or being transported to ikolo that are in private schools. They need to learn within their communities, right? So that's another point you should take down. In closing, because like I said, we speak for GBV. GBV is a pandemic. It comes before COVID, guys. Can we make sure that there is no violence in schools? Whether it's substance abuse, whether it's violence, physical violence, there is also violence, what do they call this? Verbal and emotional violence. So in terms of emotional violence, ayabothisha babahlukumeza abantwana. Nabantwana bayabahlukumeza bothisha. So let us figure out a way to stop such things ekolweni. Hey, ningibambe off guard, man.
Not. Any addition?
Oh, let me add.
Yeah.
Hi.
I like the accent.
I'm Fauzia Christopher. I currently reside at Pumula with my cousin who just spoke in Tabising. So I feel like that GBV should be based, like the discussions should go to schools. Students should know more about how to protect themselves and the landline number, because we can call the police right now. It will take 5 hours for them to come and assist an individual. That has happened to us. We've seen it live, where my friend literally got abused. The cops didn't come at all. And it's a cycle that keeps on happening in township communities. When I go to Boksburg, to a suburb where my sister stays, the cops come within 5 minutes for a small issue. So I feel like, can you please get more youth programs in schools where we as graduates can talk to students about GBV. We can discuss how they can get help, more therapy sessions, a way for them to be more proactive, especially these young girls with getting pregnant and stuff. So I think all of these should be based in school. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. So I was right, you know, because we can't just ignore this message and we don't ask and talk about it. Indeed, GBV is a very serious matter. And I think the head office is taking note of that. And I would impress on you. We have only to the HOD. Take his number, interact with the department. Here's your MEC. If you have a told uzegimi, mina ngizokutholela bona. Now, we're not going to take any more hands now. I'm going to allow my colleagues first, MEC, to just to ventilate what they have noted around the issues that was raised here. And then thereafter, I'll give it to the department, and the MEC will close on the matter, and then thereafter we'll close the meeting. I'm told by our officials that there's a storm coming, so we must try to be as quick as possible. Over to you. Macheke?
Yeah, no thanks, Chair. And thanks to all the stakeholders for their inputs. You know, I wanted to request something. Ke batla le shapele ntate Mpisi Matsogo. There's a reason why I'm saying le shapele ntate Mpisi Matsogo. This is my first meeting since I was redeployed to this portfolio committee. Hi, ntate Mpisi is very generous. Extremely generous. You know, I was looking at the agenda, and all of you off-ramped completely. Off-ramped. I'm watching Charlene, I'm watching Pierre Lomola. They're supposed to be writing the report, and I can see frustration on them. And it's not like you are off-ramping, you're not speaking to issues that are related to education. They are genuine, they are related to education. But you see, one of the reasons why sometimes we lose focus, Bagaitso. Ntato mongwe we mimo are o tswa mo strateng se. Are ha bone anybody from this community. Let me tell you where I come from. Ke tswa Magaliesburg, a very rural place. Now there will never be a meeting. Ke bona meeting will tebe ke nna. O affectang community yaka. It's a problem. You don't need an invite. When you see the koloi, hey, I get on about a puan. I don't know the BMW nyana more no utla. What's happening? So I got to encourage our community. Let's take ownership. Let's go invite, email, you know, all those things. I did 2 seconds. For you to be able to participate on issues that affect your community, be involved. And Bakai to call a spade a spade. How about the address your issues? I agree you elected show of hands. Babotlemo. I want to know CV. Oh, what? Retsenega, let's go. Lerensaga, let's go. Beating spade a spade. Our SGB honali under issue SGB is corrupt. And these are the reasons why we are saying SGB is corrupt. So that as an oversight committee, we can be able to address those issues. You are not assisting yourselves. Because the problem is that SGB, they will remain after we are gone. As members of the provincial legislature. So state things the way they are. So that we are able to assist you. So that we are able to resolve them. MEC, before he became an MEC, is a member of the legislature. That is why, if Matome Chilwan is not there tomorrow, there will be an MEC for education. So, I'll address that issues. Don't say, MEC Chilwan, MEC Chilwan. I used to tell my MEC was sports. Or you are not the department. HOD, you are not the department. So the Department of Education will remain. I get like apartheid in the Department of Education. I get back. So I want my department, my office, my really separate those issues. If issues get don't attack Ntate Musweu. This department is doing very well. You know, number 1. MEC, Department of Education is number 1. Let me tell you why Department of Education is number 1. But by 2, aba pasa go Free State. Lebato by 10 aba pasa go Gauteng. There's a huge difference. There's a big difference. But by 2 go Free State, baga never pass 100%. Mo Gauteng, re bua ka 16 million people. Ha re bua ka di-learners, re bua ka plus million. So much the numbers that go Free State. So for all these years, Ntate Musweu, you've been number 1. And we are proud of you. Le sa re le batlo mathisa 100%. Just be sure hore le number one. One of the issues that I also picked up, Chair, not that I'm taking time. Hey, khale ke ntse ke one of those members ba ba move mo department member mo Kobo ke tshwana le ena. I move through all the portfolios in the legislature. When there are issues, they send me to that into it. Hey, it's first time ke bona metlholo. A department, yeah, budget of almost 60 billion, spends 99%. Hey, I've noted, how did you do it? You know? Department of less than R1 billion, Department of Sports, 127 million goes back to treasury. So you must appreciate people like this. Not only that, all of them, these officials, you must appreciate the work that they are doing. The only thing that I want you to take home that they, I've realized, and it's something that I picked up, there's no correlation between your targets and your expenditure. We like at 28 targets that were achieved and then 4 were not achieved. But when you look at your financial expenditure, it's saying something contrary to even your accruals. Then I looked at your accruals. Your accruals again, to me, they don't make sense. Maybe in our further discussions, we'll zoom into, because immediately when I looked at, I thought maybe your expenditure is on the basis of your accruals. CFO. Then I realized when your accruals were about 50 million or so, so it means about 10 million. So it still to me does not make sense. So it means your targets and your budget expenditure or your budget itself are correlate the MEC. So it's something that we really need to focus on. Those are the only issues that would have picked up. But lastly, Chair, I want to request through you, and this is the request that I also want to make to members, that we don't even allow the MEC and the HOD to really respond. We must request the staff. We must have a seminar, Chair. I'm just requesting, so that we allow all these inputs. Annual report or a channel or no, a focus on the annual report. Rebel seminar, so that we don't even get a presentation. Do you know to have a channel meeting? SGB, transport or security, so that we then have a report and then we'll have a feedback session where we'll come and say on all these issues that we will have raised, we've attended to these issues they are still under investigation, so that we can be able to address them. Thank you.
Thank you. You see how generous I am, ne?
Very generous.
Santos?
Thank you, Chairperson, and thank you to the MEC, my previous Chairperson. I think education is in good hands. Let's hope you'll take it from strength to strength. I'm a man of very few words. I also don't like to repeat myself and repeat what other people have said. But just to touch on what the previous member did say, we kind of did divert to what the presentation was. But the annual report is a very important process that we go through every single year. Every department goes through that. And it's a very high level overview of what is actually happening, more in terms of financial performance, but it is an overview even of KPIs and so on. But it is quite important because it's the annual report, when it's performing well, or when the department's doing well and the annual report comes out as qualified or unqualified or clean report, it's indicative of what is happening on the ground. It's indicative that services are being delivered. So the annual report is actually pretty good. There are one or two little things like your regular expenditure, but otherwise, in terms of delivering, education department is quite good. You know, even me, I'm in opposition, so I need to try and find all these little things. So, you know, I still remember the one speech, there was like nothing for me to really say. So I had to say, hey, you know, you guys didn't spend 20,000 Rand when we're talking about a 50 billion Rand budget. You know, but that's the thing. You know, there are many aspects that we need to progress and get better in. It's a passion, I think, for everyone here. You know, our children are the future of our nation. And an educated child is a successful child. So education is the basis that we need to ensure that it is in its right processes. Now, we come from many years of a unbalanced education system. So it's still going to take a little while to get it there, but I think we're heading in the right direction. I love the aspect of the fourth industrial revolution. That's something that I'm studying currently and trying to drive, and I think it's quite imperative that we also look at upskilling and reskilling within our education system, not only just in your basic, but even your higher education system. But otherwise, thank you very much, Chairperson, and to the MEC. Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
Give it to Mkwebo.
No, thank you. I'm happy because there is a Mama Semola complained about the ANC today. And she didn't complain about my organization. It is a fact because as members of provincial legislature, we go around as a committee elected by you. And when a community member raises an issue about a particular political party, you must not take it light. Because we are the leaders of the society. We must protect the society and educate the society what we stand for. But while we are sitting here, the chair said to her, after this, come to me. I'll address the issue. This is my chair now. We're not speaking about politics now. We are members of provincial legislature. Now, the chair took a responsibility to say she will address the matter. You know what touches me most is Grace Tweki Musadi. And today, we are launching 16 days against Batuabasadi. So I'm like this. I feel a pain because women are being killed, women are being abused by men as men. And they don't need our protection, these women. They need a matured man in this society to live in an exemplary way wherever you are. Men must not say we'll protect women or protect her for ing because so if we can start to behave properly, then there will be no need for protection for women. They are going to enjoy their society, they are going to enjoy their lives. And Banabalba Mudimba keeper say black. HOD, I'm sure you saw them. Put them in your program of stakeholders. Invite them and capacitate them. They are showing an interest to assist those who came before them. She's saying, I'm a graduate. She wants to assist the community. Let's invest to those who want to invest to others. Because it shows they care about the growth of this society. That's what is very, very key. Now, the last thing which I want to share with you, Rona Reduti Moral Committee, the MEC and the Department of Education, they account to us. Arikakwa legislature is hearing Twitchy. Lalibuaka annual performance report and by President Amona. Kiri nabar level lang warna. Chalete elan revote la lebu chairperson MPs. Kagara parliament ya Gauteng. Iberekile mereko le na. Kiruna mereko really portfolio committee. But we must again support them. Like this, I was speaking to the HOD. I was very pleased. He said to me, I saw there was a person who said it's a PC member of MEC of our education. He was our chairperson in this committee. Fortunate enough, I worked with him. In 2019, when I went to legislature, I became part of this committee. I know how he operates. HOD said, MEC, they are giving the SGBs and the schools money to build in their schools. And they said there is a good progress. Because batbal lakaur dikolo jabona adi ahiu chelete ya jiwa ke ma menemen. Ya no ha department le fa chelete le community. Build your own school. Eba na leska barata ra utlo to le jile chelete. Artole salam rao, and it won't be nice because we are trying to give you responsibility because it's your own school, for your own community, for your own development, for your own kids to benefit in that school. Let's protect our schools. Let's protect our schools. Most schools mo a se pleka gore le tla ka weekend le tlo dula le di-girlfriend tša lena mo sekolong le rotela ona mo sekolong mo. Those are the things I see myself when I go to township schools. You don't respect your own resources. You think there is someone called government. There is someone called school. You yourself, it's your own responsibility to protect of education of our own kids. More especially a black child. Meola unkudise botlhoko ba re ke mang meola. O ka re ke tla ke 2024 chief DA. I'm speaking because I get in 6 months I'll have a mayor here in Ikuruleni. So now, aperona matla re tseba ona atla na re tlo a tsia. So the last thing which I want to share a check over. Let's make sure our community understand what is annual performance report. Rautwana ke HOD. Are ba etsa gore ba itlhaloganye gore ha ba botsa or ba engage ba khona engage to the relevant of what we came for and add again. I know chairperson no generous. My chair. Ke a leboha. Also we me ka mgo. MEC is the first time I see you as the MEC. Nerisho ka ofela mo le chairperson na portfolio committee. Shabu khotsi. Congratulations.
Icon. I'm trying not to be political, and these members are diverting. You see, Santos started that with a 20,000 issue. Now Itani is now taking it further. Unfortunately, 2024, Mema Semula is going to vote correct. She's going to vote correct. Because she's not afraid to speak and to tell the leadership what is wrong. But before I give you HOD and the MEC to comment, I just want few observations. Indeed, I did it deliberately that I get experience sometimes ya counter. Yeah, so experience in ya counter. You see, when you visit community, it's very rare that you find politicians who are members of parliament coming to talk to you. It's very rare. Now, I can't stop you. When you raise something that is irrelevant but relevant to the issues of education, I will allow you to speak on that. But I listened to many of our colleagues here. I was saying to a member Macheke, and now this is a complaining session. SGBs must have the right to govern. They have their own constitution to govern the schools. And they know that they must govern the schools. If the SGB principal la ayisebenzi asizoyichitha. Because ngizwa nje bathi no, SGB la doesn't work. Now we have to remove them if they don't work. Because remember, when you take an oath and you said you are available and you sign on that piece of paper, it means for the next 3 years you are going to work. Now, I hear members of the SGB in that are complaining rather than coming with solutions. We were dealing with the report here of 2021-22. This report says to us, this is what we said we'll do. This is what we have done. This was our budget. This is how much we have spent. Now, if you have leadership of governance start to complain, I'm becoming worried. I'm worried because you're supposed to be sitting here, maybe assist us in responding to certain things that the community might have raised. Rather than coming here to salary, who's employed. In fact, we want to take the powers of employing the principals back to the department. Because in Tabansama SGP, ilama appointment. Now that power, we must take it back so that the department must now take full responsibility of the principal. Because I'm a poster attending. ayathengiswa. It's true. We have a report yakhitshwa uMinister uEnji. We read it, it's confidential report because abantu bangakulanda nasendlini ngepha. Now, I'm saying this because if you don't understand your role as a chairperson in SGB, then you don't have to be here. Treasurer wala we SGB must not be at the school every day, no secretary. But what we have seen across the province, we have seen all of them camping eskoleni. It's not your responsibility to be at the school. Leave the principal and the SMT to do their job. Come to the school when it is necessary for you to do what you're supposed to do as a governance structure. And getting in a timetable, yama meetings. Let's do that. Let's do that. So we must not deal with issues because I think it was 2020 where we recommended some of the SGBs that they must leave the post because they were failing totally. A department letter a contract is working call. Members of the SGB Baba Ma Business Forum, they stopped the project. Angindo abona njenga ngoba sisho baba Masuku. Sithi solethe isikolo la. I can tell you the so-called business forum, they will be camping here. Ngeke iqhubeke project if bangatholanga a percentage. Abafuna ukuthola percentage ngokusebenza. Bafuna 30% bangazange bayisebenzele. Now this thing, it's a criminal offense. We're happy that our government is taking this very, very serious. And if those that are doing that are continuing to do that, they will be arrested, unfortunately. Now, as my parting shot, the proactive, let's help these young ladies to reach out to many young girls and boys in our different schools. Because I think they have the content and the clarity about what is to be done dealing and addressing the GBV in our schools. And protect them as well. As karaba fitla mo le ntate Upa ko departmenting se le bona di cherry. No. We must allow them to do that work and reach out to the poorest of the poor. So that is what we must do. Lastly, from my side, I think we are on the right track. This is one department that I've been dealing with since 2014. This is one department, when things are wrong, the department will be the first one to tell us. To say, hey, more khatile banana. Can we solve it? How can we deal with this particular issue? Now, it is very, very important. The issue of scholar transport. It's an issue that we must address in that day, Opa. Because it can be that within this radius, banaba rona abakonu kena skolo mo. Abakonu kena skolo mo because this is a Xhosa speaking school. Now we must change the thing, HOD. Banaba mo, let's have a multilingual classes here. So that we can save that money at transport, MEC. We can save and build more schools and classes. Because our Kenya the bus stay 10. How much is it per year? And that money could make a big difference. Now, let us not create unnecessary problems. Let's solve it, but I think the department is here to understand what we are trying to do. Abantu abathi njengawe mngani wami uhlala la. Yabona iKasi FM is la because we've been pronouncing Wikasi FM. I've been speaking to different radio stations. All the newspapers we have advertised that we are coming to this school. If the community does not take interest, it is not our problem. But Nena, as a community, take the responsibility abantwana benu la. Yabona size la because thina sifuna ukuthi kwa kwisikolo la. Asizanga la just because sifuna ukushayina. Sikhuluma isilungu esingaka. No. I've said it in my opening remarks. I'm assured by the department that there's going to be a school brick and mortar. Yeah. That is what we want. Now, laba bangekho bazosho ukuthi no, i department ite. abatholi i-information first hand bazo-interpreta lento esiyikhulumayo in a wrong way. Indeed, we want the school. That's why we saw it as a portfolio committee to say, let's take the department to that school department, HOD. He did his own walkabout. Usibonile isikole ukuthi sinjani. We need to build a proper school. Esifana ne-mall, ezoba ne-security right, ekuzoba ne-IT right. La abantwana bethu bazoyenza i-coding khona, la abantwana bethu bazofunda ngento different. That's what we want to do. We do not want next year when we pass that budget, and then at the end of the year next year, asikaboni umnyakazo la. It will be wrong. Kumele siwubone umnyakazo ene mina ngizobahlala la. Bayazi ngizobahlala la. Because the department has to deliver on its promises. And thina singamehlo namadlebe wenu. We listen, we watch. And as we watch, we make sure that the department implements. But I can tell you, the department is in good hands. And these leaders that you see from the department are doing a very great job. Wouldn't be where we are now as Gauteng if these officials were not doing the right thing. So HOD, let me hand over to you just to summarize and then give it to the MEC to close. Okay, go on.
Ariska prolonga meeting, Chair, as to say, Reno Lebo, just to thank this opportunity to come and present the report to yourselves as a committee, as well as the residents of our province. It's good that I heard that you come from different places. So it's true that the message is out there. So Realeboa, sometimes I need to respond. You know, sometimes I don't know kwa. So we will write down, we'll come back with proper response. Yes, you drifted, it's okay. It's not every day you are with the MEC or the HOD in one space. So sometimes it happens on Macheke that you want to smuggle things. You are a politician, you are always smuggling things. You know, so you know. So it's not always. So let's give them that space as well to breathe. So HOD, we have written down everything we have noted it. Will come back to the committee and respond, you know, to some, and we'll come back, give the feedback to the community. Skolo says Slovating mo Pinville, brick and mortar. That one we can assure you. The process is in place. We are looking at modalities, but we'll want the community to work with us when that process starts. You know, so that there are many schools that have been built, but there's also many schools that have been disrupted in the building. And in most cases, it's people outside, it's criminals. You know, this 30%, these business forums are an enemy of state. You know, we would be very far. We could have been very, very, very far. But because of they are there when we start, they disrupt, they threaten the contractor, they threaten the school principal, the school governing. It's a mess. But criminals will not win against us. We are determined and we will deliver on that. So, just to say thank you for the opportunity. We humbly accept the mandate and we will respond accordingly. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, MEC. Agilebuelo Naschava. Sa Gauteng. Ena nesi meeting ya skolo zena fela. It's a provincial meeting. So I want to thank all the stakeholders who came to contribute. We are available. Our staff, they are at the back. If you need my numbers, get them there. But don't phone elepsu. Yeah, I'm gonna lend you my e-wallet. Charlene and Pielo, please do that. Colleagues, thank you very much. Honorable members, thank you very much. The meeting stand adjourned. Thank you very much.